the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Welcome everyone, our esteemed guests of the evening and our participants. Some of our guests will be joining us in some time, and I see we have quite a number of participants. We just hope we have more and more joining us. I also request each of you to please help us spread the word so that your friends and family can join us. I would like to begin this officially. As you know, 2020 marked the beginning of unimaginable changes, both personal and professional. There's so much chaos, but all we need to remember is we need to stay positive and we need to stick to each other. We need to emerge as a global family and help the people irrespective of what religion, caste, or creed we belong to. Background doesn't matter. We need to understand that we're all in this battle together. With this, I'd like to introduce the speakers of the evening. And I thank all the speakers. We have plethora number of speakers from different backgrounds and across the world. It's an honor to have some of the incredible people. I would like to welcome my father, Mr. Aga Sultan, who's the convener of Hussain Day, and he has joined us. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Imran Rasool, who is the director of Channel Win, who has been our media partner for the past few years. And it is because of him and his team's support that our message travels across borders. I would like to welcome Mrs. Shamshad Hussain, an incredible lady and inspiration to women in Bangalore and across India. She is the president of Anjumane Sohra Bangalore, and she has been doing incredible work across the city. They say age is just a number. The amount of energy she has is tremendous, and she inspires all the young ladies and the women to join the cause. So I welcome you, ma'am. Now, Mr. Imran Rasool has just joined us, sir. I just introduced before you came in. We welcome you for the webinar, and inshallah, we want to hear from you. How did you start your journey? And hopefully after welcoming the guests, I shall communicate with you, and then you can start a few words of your wisdom so that you can inspire us. Our next speaker is Mr. Mukhtar Kareem, who is the chairman of Lady Fatima Trust, based in London. And he has been doing incredible work, especially focusing the women in Iraq, Palestine, Syria, and African countries. So he will be joining us in the next 30 minutes, and it's an honor to have him part of our session. Next speaker, I would like to welcome Dr. Batul Fatima, who has been very dear to us and who is an incredible philanthropist and holds a very important position. She is an example of using your position and reaching out to those in need. She is the Senior Vice President of LabourNet Services India Private Limited from Bijapur, and she's been very active, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. We're very glad that we're going to get to hear from her as well. Our next speaker is a young and a dynamic lady, Ms. Subi Dupar, who is a very good friend of mine, and she's the regional director of United Religions Initiative of North India and Afghanistan. United Religions Initiative is an umbrella organization for all the NGOs working hand in hand and in common cause. I met Subi a few years back in Delhi, and let me just tell you, she had invited me for an event called Udan. Such a beautiful event, which will remain in my heart for the longest time. That event was specially catered to underprivileged and also the children who are specially abled. We got to see them performing, sing, dance, and we saw puppet shows. And this lady, don't go with her age again. She is connected with some of the incredible scholars and intellectuals across the world. And we need such dynamic individuals like her to inspire us. And Udan was such a super hit event, and we've been trying to recreate that in regions like Bangalore. Hopefully, Subi, I'll get in touch with you regarding that. And we welcome you to our webinar in the evening, and we are eagerly waiting to hear from you. Our next speaker is Mr. Hayat Amiri, another dynamic young individual who's rooted from Afghanistan. And as a refugee, a lot of people have excuses that when you're going through a lot in life, you have excuses saying you already have a lot to clear the mess. but he is an example to reach out to those in need. He used his experience to create peace building. He's a very known peace builder and a public speaker in India, and he is an expert in peace building initiatives across New Delhi and North India. And we want to invite him very soon towards the southern part of India so that he trains many such individuals. And he's also been a compeer of Hussain Day from the past 2 years. You must have seen him on our YouTube videos. I welcome you, brother, Mr. Hayat Amiri. We're looking forward to hear from you. Our next speaker is Dr. Muhammad Abbas Khaki, who is extremely busy today. He's in work right now, and inshallah, he shall be joining us. He is the founding trustee of Who is Hussain Foundation in London. And Who is Hussain, as you all know, is a revolutionary movement of youngsters, especially the youth. It is an umbrella organization which brings together all the youngsters, and based on the inspiration of Imam Hussain, we reach out to those most in need, and we try to be the voice of the voiceless. So Muhammad Abbas Khaki has been a great support to all our initiatives from the past few years, and we welcome him, and inshallah we shall be hearing him speak. Our next speaker is Mr. Shah Abbas, who's also a great friend from London. He is involved in a lot of charity initiatives, and especially an expert in crowdfunding campaigns. The energy what he has is something we all need to replicate. So I welcome you, brother. I am not sure he's joined us, but inshallah he'll be joining us in some time now. And we have with us, of course, I don't need to introduce my brother, Razi Abbas, who is equally passionate as others, and I would say an inspiration to me as well. He is the co-founder of First Main and Idiotic, and also currently the operations head of LabourNet Healthcare Services. So Razi will also be sharing a few words. He'll be sharing about our work from the Laureate Trust and also his personal capacity, whatever he's been working on during the COVID-19 pandemic. I would also like to introduce my friend, Ms. Dr. Alamdar, who's also joined us. Inshallah, he shall also be sharing his few words. He's very active, especially the COVID-19 pandemic, an important individual who's been helping the patients get beds, because right now the hospitals are completely overwhelmed. And right now he's doing his MD medicine in Bijapur. Well, we welcome you, brother. And I don't know if my friend is here, Mr. Rehan Ajani, who will also be sharing 2 or 3 minutes of his work as a part of the Khoja Jamaat in Karnataka. I welcome you, brother. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all. And I would like to welcome my father, Mr. Aga Sultan, convener of the evening, to please begin and share a few words on our topic, service to humanity. We welcome you, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My sincere gratitude, thanks to everyone who is here. I don't want to individually name them because it'll take a lot of time. That goes to show the kind of commitment all of you have. Coming to the point, this year's Hussain Day, in order to abide by the advisory of the Government of India and the Government of Karnataka, we have decided to go on a virtual platform. And that will be launched on 27th September. Service to humanity, taking inspiration from the life of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, is the theme. And we chose this theme because of the kind of pandemic we are facing this year. This year has been a very challenging one. And we have seen what is the need of the poorest of the poor person, because he is a daily wage earner. So we decided to have this as a theme, but unfortunately, we are not on ground on that particular day, and we will be virtual. And I'm sure with Win Channel as our media partners, and especially I have greatest regards towards Mr. Imran Rasool and his team of Win Channel, who have been doing extremely well. I think it's one of the most famous channel, not only in India, across the world. They started with a humble beginning in a very modest way. The way they have reached out, not only Muslims, even the non-Muslims are watching this particular channel. Keep it up, Mr. Imran Rasul Sahab. May your tribe increase. Without taking much of my time, I would like to thank everyone, and I would like to also share that Hussain Day is a concept which we have propagated for the last 27, this is the 28th year, in order to reach out to those who don't know who is Imam Hussain. Why did he sacrifice his life on the desert plains of Karbala? What was the reason? Why do we remember him even almost 1,400 years ago? Why do we remember him? Why do we cry? Why do we lament? Why do we have majlises? Why do we distribute tabarruk? Why do we have azadari? It's only because this is one event in the entire history of the world. It changed it. Islam, I would say, was reborn. Islam, which was going to be perished by the terrorist Yazid, I would say, if Imam Hussain Islam would have not sacrificed his life along with his family and followers, there would have been no Islam today. More than Islam, he fought for the principles of humanity. And when he coming to the service towards humanity, I would like to just quote one small incident which took place in Karbala. While Imam Hussain Islam and his Qafila was on the way to Karbala, he was stopped by the enemy Yazid's army, and they were all thirsty. Imam Hussain al-Islam was so generous, he gave the entire water which he had stocked up, not only to the Yazid soldiers, but also to the horses. This is one of the small incidents. So let us pledge today that all of us will join together, follow the ideology of Imam Hussain Islam, help each and every one irrespective of caste, creed, or religion. There is no barriers for any kind of faith in helping any humanity, any human being. So all human beings are the sons and daughters of God. Allah we call, others call Bhagwan, Shiva, Rama, and Christians say Jesus Christ, Son of God. So everybody is equal in the eyes of God. Let us pledge today and work towards serving the humanity. And that's what Imam Hussain Islam has preached us. That is what Ahl Bayt has preached us. That is what Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, whose grandson sacrificed his life on the desert plains of Karbala for the sake of protecting humanity. And let us go forward without taking much of my time. I would like to welcome all the speakers, and I would like to hear more from them than me speaking today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Baba, for your insightful thoughts regarding the topic service to humanity. Before I introduce our next speaker, I'm launching a poll. Till then, simultaneously, can you just fill in your options? Yeah. That's a great participation. And with this, we're going to be starting our session for the evening. And I would like to start with a lady. As it's always said, ladies first. So I would like to introduce once again, Ms. Subi Dhupar, a dynamic personality based in New Delhi and a managing director of United Religions Initiative, New Delhi and Afghanistan. She is an agent of change in the right sense. I welcome you, Subi. We hope you inspire us, which I'm very sure. In the end of the session, we're definitely going to take few words of wisdom. And I especially hope the ladies who have joined us, the young ladies, take you as an inspiration and work hard towards bringing a change and making a world a better place. I welcome you, Subi. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Sakarya. It's always a pleasure and honor to be with you and support all the wonderful initiatives that you do. I hope I'm audible. Okay. Hello everyone. It's just wonderful to see you all. While I will, keep myself brief, but I'll also love to hear from each one of you who have taken out their time to join this call. So, if each one of you could probably share one word about how you're feeling today on the chat box, that will be really amazing. Because as youngsters, it's great if we could have more interaction. Unfortunately, the wonderful initiative that Sir and Zakaria organize every year, we are not able to meet in person, but we love to keep this energy up. So please keep typing how you're feeling today in the chat box. Um, so with with all the excitement, enthusiasm, and inspiration and support that I've always had from the work that Zakaria and Aga Sultan sir has been doing, I just I'm just a big nerd, and I'll just like to share that something that has always inspired me is this quote from Imam Hussain, and he says that I forget my pain when I remember yours. And um, so every time that I am feeling low, or every time there is an obstacle or a challenge, I always go back to this very strong message that was given by him, and the tools that always come handy, or the means that always keeps me inspired despite so many difficult situations that we are all facing, such as the pandemic at this point in time, are the tools of love, hope, and compassion. And as His Holiness Dalai Lama always says, um, love and compassion are necessities, and they're not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive, and it will not. But while we always talk about these principles and these values and ethics that are so dear to us in our hearts, which are so important and quintessential, when it often comes to translating our work onto ground, there are many, many, many challenges that all of us face. And um, and that is why, from my little experiences of working in the field for almost 6+ years, I'm just here to share some of the insights, and I hope it, as Zakaria said, it continues to, more than inspiration, help in solidifying the peace building movement. So I'll be very brief, very quick, and so I just have a few things to share, which are like, when we talk about translating compassion and love on ground, we need to ensure that a planned, channelized strategy is implemented. We need to be sure that every time, in every work that we're doing, we are definitely constructing a paved pathway to make the space more inclusive, whether it's about people from different religious backgrounds, different age groups, different genders, indigenous traditions, people with special abilities, so on and so forth. It needs to be not just tokenism, as often it is seen, but it also needs to be in a space where people from different backgrounds come together in the decision making spaces. And we accord, it's not accommodation, but we respect differences, and we understand that differences are beautiful. Just like in a salad bowl, if we just had one vegetable, it would be like so boring. But if we had multiple vegetables, it would just make our diet so enriched. So every difference has a special place, and we need to respect that special place and bring it together. While I say that it has to be a constructed path, I necessarily do not believe, or are suggesting that it has to be big, or it has to be bigger numbers. what we're looking at is, even if we are impacting one life, we need to ensure that that one life in itself is also respective with all the diversity it has. We are looking at making a change, which means we have the vertically more impactful initiatives versus the horizontal spread. I mean, horizontal spread is of course important, but we also need to remember that it has to be an everlasting sustainable change that we're looking at. The second thing that I would probably like to share is that whenever we are talking of differences, it's always great to have an expectation setting or clarity from different sides of of different people who are coming together on the table, so that in that case we're able to have a dialogue, but we're also able to bring together in a way that can be put together into action. So you're actually translating words into interfaith action. And third and not the least, I would just like to say that the younger generation is definitely the change makers. We are definitely um, the hope for the present century. But also, what's important to be kept in mind is that intergenerational spaces which look at respecting the wisdom of our elders, along with the creative ideas that the younger generation and even school kids for that matter, who are 5 years 6 years old, are equally important. And as I shared before, that it all has to merge in together on a common convening platform. And I think by the fact that if you're able to just bring everybody together and have convening spaces such as these, which have such wonderful people like you on this call today, there will be definitely light at the end of the tunnel, and we will all be able to make through it. So in this context, would quickly like to share that URI, United Religions Initiative, the organization that I work for, works around 14 SDGs, which looks at working on health, environment, education, gender rights, peace and conflict resolution, so on and so forth, across 108 countries. And we hope to bring people, like-minded institutions such as yours, together to join hands and then make um, an impact together. So with this, I would just like to end, so that I hope I'm in the due accorded time that was given to me. My only, you know, I think, message and request to everybody is that you know, the feeling that you have right now of being blessed, motivated, joyful, inspired, happy, which I've seen in the chat box, please keep that up, because that's super important during these very difficult times of the pandemic. And second is, just reach out uh, to all of us if you ever need help. We're all there together in this, and we can all make it through. So with that, I hand it over to Zakaria. Thank you so much, everybody, and all the organizers for giving me this wonderful space.
Thank you so much, Subi. Those were some really powerful words of inspiration. In fact, you define the very famous saying, be the change you want to see in this world. And you doing incredible work across 108 countries. That's incredible. I hope we can collaborate in the days to come. I've already started receiving messages that they want me to introduce them to you, some young, incredible leaders of our team, who is saying, I'm
Sure.
definitely going to put across, and we're going to start working. And we're going to be taking questions for Subi towards the end of the session. If you have any questions, you can please send us in the chat box. I shall make a note of it and communicate it to her. Okay. And before I go to our next speaker, I would like to make our poll results public. The question, this is for the viewers in our YouTube channel. The question was, have you ever been a part of an initiative that contributes to society? And we've got a great response. 86% said yes. And it was just 14%, that's 4 participants, who said no. Now, 86% is an incredible number. I'm more worried about the 4 people. So whoever the four are, please get in touch with us. We are going to give you that platform to reach out to those in need. And with this, I would like to welcome our senior speaker, Mr. Imran Rasool Saab. Yeah, Mr. Imran Rasool Saab is the director of Channel Win. And let me just tell you, Channel Win today is #1 Islamic channel, which not just spreads Islamic knowledge, they have incredible shows on health related, education related, job opportunities, mental health counseling. So he is one individual who has created a platform for the benefit and the improvement of an individual. So I would like to welcome Mr. Imran Rasool from Mumbai. Sir, we are incredibly inspired by you. We want you to please share a few words, 10 minutes, up to 5 to 10 minutes, as much as you're comfortable with. And inshallah, we're going to have our participants asking you questions, and then we're going to go with the next speaker. Thank you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Imran Rasool, and Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu ala al-Hussein wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussein wa ala awlad al-Hussein wa ala ashab al-Hussein. I will begin with my journey about Win Channel. Win Channel, jo 1990 mein we have established this channel, and as before that, I should tell you about my background, my education, everything. Basically, I am a graphic designer. I have done my advertising degree from JJ School of Art. And during our academic time period, we have learned a lot about how to promote things and how to advertise your product. And one of the basic things they have taught us कि अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट कितना भी बुरा हो, बट उसकी पैकेजिंग आपकी बहुत अच्छी होनी चाहिए, तो एटलीस्ट क्लाइंट 1 से 2 मरतबा कस्टमर आपका प्रोडक्ट खरीदेगा. और अगर प्रोडक्ट अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है, अगर उसकी पैकेजिंग खराब हुई तो कोई प्रोडक्ट खरीदेगा नहीं. दिस थिंग रियली हिट मी ऑन माय हार्ट के यार इतना अच्छा रिलीजन है इस्लाम, एंड उस पे भी अहले बैत का मजहब इतनी अच्छी टीचिंग सिखाता है हमें. Why it's like that we could not promote our religion, our teaching to entire humanity? Because I'm talking about humanity. This is nothing to do with my religion or your religion or our religion or their religion. It's basically Islam is a message of humanity. This is what we are trying to promote. So I ponder over that thing. It was during 1990, and I spoke to some of my friends during that day. We were young and energetic like Zakaria and other people. So I spoke to them, and we found that let's do something. Let's try to promote. Let's try to do some tabligh, because as you all know, कि शिया मजहब में तबलीग बहुत ही कम होती है, यानी न होने के बराबर है. Whatever हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन होता है वो हमारे इमाम बारगाह या हमारी मस्जिद तक होता है. दूसरे लोगों को इनवाइट भी नहीं करते, और हमारी लैंग्वेज और हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन भी ऐसा होता है कि दूसरे अट्रैक्ट भी नहीं करते. To be, I'll be very frankly with you about all this. So we started promoting. We started organization by the name of WIN, World Islamic Network. This is a registered trust, and we started publishing books, or small booklets, and we started giving this to. Sorry, I'll take a lot of your time, but if you permit me, because we started publishing books and we started giving them free of charge throughout the world. And believe me, from distributing free of charge, it does not mean anyone, Tom, Dick, and Harry can come and take the free book. They have to write. During that time, email was not there, WhatsApp and all this media was not. The only message was at letters. They used to write us about the book, and we used to give them book. And if they have to want second book, we'll ask them to give the summary of the first book. Then we keeps on giving the book. Today we have, alhamdulillah, we have published 90 titles. Most of them titles are in English language, Hindi language, and Marathi language. These 3 languages we have promoted, and alhamdulillah, right now we have more than 300,000 members with us around the world, throughout the world. Then the day when the time changed and the media came, the color TV came in India, and people are started watching a lot of TV and all this thing. So we started our cable network. It was a cable network only for the Mumbai area, and we got a very good response. Then I told to my colleagues, my trustees and all, let's start a satellite channel. They said, पागल है क्या? Satellite channel का license नहीं मिलेगा. It's very impossible. बोला try करके तो देख लेते यार. मिल गया तो मिल गया, नहीं मिला तो नहीं मिला. What's the, yeah, at the end of the day हम जब मैदान मशर में खड़े होंगे तो हम बोलेंगे तो सही कि भाई ट्राई किए तो नहीं मिला. But Alhamdulillah, after the continuous 3 years of pursuing with the MIB Ministry of Information of Technology in Delhi, at last in 2012 we got the license of Channel Win, and Alhamdulillah, this is the only satellite channel that Government of India has given us the license, and we can directly uplink from Noida, and we can downlink on 30 countries, including India. And the results, you are all know that Alhamdulillah, today we have more than 60 million, more than, I don't know the exact figure, but more than 6 crore viewerships we have with us all over the world. We are in all best of platforms on DTH platform and cable TV. My telling you about all this thing, it's not I'm boasting something about what we did, but this is a very long process to ये चीज को सबको पूरा करना. And alhamdulillah, now we are in a very comfortable position where we can say that our programs are reaching throughout the world. About the Hussain Day, we started telecasting Hussain Day almost 4 years back when Aga Sultan Sahab gave us the recorded program of Hussain Day, and I really felt that this is a wonderful program. We should shoot them with our cameraman, with our team and everything. So from last 3 years, we are sending our team to Bangalore and we doing all the shootings. And this type of Hussain Day program, I think so we should continue in all the states of India, not only in Bangalore. Unfortunately, this has not been done anywhere, because see, Imam Hussain message is not for any particular religion or particular creed or anything. It's for entire humanity. And I'm glad that we are attached with Hussain Day, and we are doing all this program every year. Now we are facing a lot of other problems also from the people, that we are not telecasting any program live because we don't have the license to telecast of the program live. So a lot of people are telling us, why don't you telecast the live majlis and live programs? So see, it's always a risk to telecast a live program, and it is there. When the speaker speaks at a spontaneous way and in his own thing, so obviously there are certain words and sentences come out from his mouth, intentionally, unintentionally. So we don't want to create any problems, any hassles in all these things. So we always monitor each and every program. We do a lot of editing work. We also do a lot of post-production work. Whenever a speaker speaks about any Quranic ayat, we put the ayat reference on that, and a lot of cleaning of you can say cleaning of all the program. Now, Channel Win is not only restricted to majalis or matam or talk show. We have a package of entire, you say, variety of program. We have a health related program. We have yoga program. We have cooking program, and films are there, dramas are there, children programs are there, animated programs are there. That is why I'm very positive that even besides Muslim, non-Muslims are also watching our program, and they're really enjoying that program. I will tell you everyone that it is only watching the program, it's easy, but to contribute on the organization is a difficult thing. Even we are getting regular contribution from our non-Muslim brothers, and they are really appreciate about the program. And Alhamdulillah, with all your helps and all the blessings we are doing, and I hope in future also we'll continue this thing. And let's see. That anything else, Zakaria, you want to know from Channel Win?
Thank you so much, sir. I just want to mention to you that during the time of media revolution, it's very important to spread the right message in its true perception. As you know, there's a lot of Islamophobia. People view Muslims in a very bad light. I think you're one of the few channels which is also communicating with the non-Muslims. Like you said about the drama, most of the dramas are dubbed in Urdu. And even if a non-Muslim sees the Islamic drama, they'll get to know about the history of Islam. And especially to those who are staying at home, especially the elderly citizens. And you have made it so easy for them. You have killed the boredom during the pandemic lockdown. So I just want to congratulate you and your entire team
Thank you.
for all the efforts. And believe me, sir, we are all inspired by you. We look up to you. And whatever initiatives we are doing, without your support, it will not reach out to people in need. So
And this is purely. I must thank Agha Sultan, your dad, you people, that you had given a chance to join with you and spread the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. I'm
Yeah.
really appreciate. I'm glad for that.
yes. Does my father, Mr. Agha Sultan, has a few words to speak about Mr. Imran Rasool? You have to mute. Please mute. One second. Yeah.
Well, no words are enough to speak about him. That is what I would say. Because he has achieved something which even people with money bags could not do. Coming from a humble background, the idea that he generated during his college days and then implementing into practice, he's a role model, I would say, to not only an Indian, to entire humanity as to how a common man can achieve like this. So I hope he also builds up in various centers to start something what he has done and go even big, and we pray that he will become more bigger and bigger. Yes, finance is the issue. When you have a good niya, God will help you, Mr. Imran, and God is with you, Ahl Bayt is with you, and entire humanity is with you. Move on, and I appreciate your policy that you should not do live. I agree with you. Please don't go live, because as you rightly said, we don't know what comes from whose mouth, and then you will be blamed. So remain as it is. Yes, recorded, scrutinize, and then telecast. I like it. And I want to associate with you. Let's hope we go further and further. Thanks, Mr. Imran, for being here and, especially energizing our spirits, because today media plays a very big role. Without media, nothing can happen. So you are our guiding spirit. Please remain. We should all pray for your good health and your family's prosperity, good health, and happiness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And to all the viewers right now, if you have any questions for Imran, sir, you can please post in the chat session. We're going to take 1 or 2 relevant questions, and inshallah, he's going to be answering. Now, before I move to the next speaker, we have our poll 2, which I'm launching right now. And it is, do you wonder how you can play your part in making a society a better place to live in during a pandemic? And one thing I would like to add to that is, and how? So please share that in the chat session. Let this be an interactive session. Do you wonder how can you play your part in making our society a better place to live in during a pandemic? If its answer is yes, how? If it's no, why? Okay, till then, now we move to the next speaker. Like I mentioned earlier, she is an inspiration to the women in Bangalore. At a very young age, she started heading an organization of incredible ladies who have been reaching out to the downtrodden of our community and also elsewhere. I would like to welcome Mrs. Shamshad Hussain, who is the president of Anjumane Sogra. If she can hear me, ma'am, we want to listen to you, how you have started this, when did you start, what is the progress, what is your vision, and you can mention about your team members and what are the challenges have you faced. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you, Dr. Zakaria, for the wonderful introduction. I would like to thank Agha Sultan and his team for giving me this platform to talk on behalf of our organization of Anjumane Sogra, named after the daughter of Imam Hussain, Bibi Fatima Sogra. The term Sogra in Arabic is defined as the smaller one. This Anjuman was established in the year 1971 with a group of like-minded women from the community, in which my mother was the first president, and 4 decades later, I had the honor of being elected as the president of this very same organization. I am proud to say we are entering our golden jubilee year this time and happy to be here. In 1971, a small group of women headed by my mother wanted to make a difference and uplift society. Their main goal was to help the needy in times of hardship and difficulties. Each member put their own skills to use, like embroidery, cooking, painting, calligraphy, to raise funds, in turn to fund the activities of the Anjuman-e-Soghra. Though through hard work and dedication of our members, and we had a number of charity bazaars, and the initial amount was raised, and the message of our work spread far and wide. Networking through people, word of mouth, and using skills helped us make the difference to the women in the community. Those days, we did not have such great technology like today. All we had was willpower, belief, and a common goal to help the women of our community. When you educate a man, you educate a man. When you educate a woman, you educate a generation. Never was a sentiment more truly expressed. Through various programs over the years, we have been aiding and supporting almost 200 children, girl children, and 100 widows each year. Some prominent programs over the years have been distributing 100 tailoring machines for women to sew from home and earn a living, cooking lessons to empower them to cater from home, finishing schools for girls, health programs. In association with Narayan Rudralaya and Najafi House, we have conducted multiple heart surgeries, counseling and mental health awareness workshops for women in distress. Food rations, clothes, money have been given during Ramzan to approximately 400 families. Today, we can proudly say we have girls in the professional fields who are doing brilliantly in their spheres. The current year 2020 took all of us by storm. The pandemic changed the way our members functioned. So many women reached out to us asking for help. We realized we had to do something. We formed a centralized networking group to raise awareness. We used technology to fundraise and spread awareness of our local situation. Our foundation worked tirelessly with the help of our sponsors and volunteers to raise aid for those affected by COVID-19. The efforts were very impactful. We successfully completed 3 rounds of rations for nearly 350 families across Bangalore, and also medical help. A lot of people have come forward to help us, and we are humbled by their response. The message for this Hussain Day is service to humanity. Imam Hussein's friends and family sacrificed their lives for the sake of carrying on the message of Islam. Our religion, Islam, stands for humanity, peace, and justice. In today's time, where there is a loss of humanity and peace, it is events like this that help bring everyone together for one common purpose and cause. The most I conclude by quoting Imam Hussein's words. The most generous of people are the ones who give to those from whom he has no hope of return. That has always inspired Anjumane Sohra and all its members to perform. I urge each one of you to help make change in people's lives. A very big thank you to Agha Sultan, Dr. Zakaria, and their team for giving me this platform to address.
Thank you so much, Auntie. I'm really moved by listening to your journey and the journey of Anjumane Sohra. You might have started small, but today I can proudly say that you have made a mark, not only for this generation, but for the future generation to follow. I'm sure the future generation of our community is definitely going to continue these services to help the people. And what fascinated me was you have been working on permanent solutions than just petty charity initiatives, which I personally feel that this is the need of the hour. We need to work on empowering the women, the widows, the divorcees, and the orphans. And you have been doing perfectly. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to take a few questions for Shamshad Auntie. I request once again to all the viewers, share your questions specifically to the viewers and we will answer them, or you can message them privately if you're comfortable. Before I move to the next speaker, I would like to share the poll results. Our second question was, do you wonder how you can play a part in making our society a better place to live in during a pandemic? 96% have said yes. That's incredible. This actually proves that most of them are active. If you said yes, please share how you have created an impact. And to that 4% which I'm always seeing saying no, I would request you to please get in touch with us. Very soon, your answers are going to be turned to yes. Okay. With this, I'm going to be introducing to you our next speaker, another dynamic lady. She is Dr. Batul Fatima. I would say a lady who truly defines that when you are blessed with a position, let it be anything, it doesn't mean you restrict yourself to those services. She has transcended to many areas, not only related to health. For example, when there was a pandemic, when the migrant laborers were stuck, she worked along with her team to reach out to them. She arranged for thousands of kgs of ration, catering to thousands of families. In fact, Team LaborNet has created a mark across India of catering to lakhs of families. And she's the one taking the final decision. She's the Senior Vice President of LaborNet Services Private Limited. Ma'am, we welcome you, and I've been wanting to hear you for a long time, and the stage is yours. I hope the viewers take something positive from today's evening. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Zakaria, and thanks to all of you for inviting me to this webinar. I thought I will utilize this opportunity to share what LaborNet does, because a lot of people, both from my relatives as well as the community as well as outside, keep asking me what does LaborNet actually do. So I'm going to share a short presentation on LaborNet so that everybody gets to know what LaborNet does in the first place. Secondly, my request to all of you is, while you're seeing this presentation, in case you feel that there are certain places where LaborNet could help you do it in your particular area, could be Hyderabad, could be Delhi, could be Mumbai, we'll be more than happy to come forward and do this activity with you. So I start with a picture. It looks like a very solemn picture, but this position was very, very overwhelming for us, because this was the state of our migrant workers during the pandemic. I have thousands and thousands of pictures like this, where people were actually stuck in the site, going through very difficult, times during this particular pandemic. Now, coming back to what we do, we are a social enterprise. We are a leading social enterprise in India, and we are the third largest national skill development corporation partner in India. And we work on three things. We work on education, employment, and entrepreneurship. And our vision is to enable livelihood of disadvantaged men, women, and youth. And for this, we enable this by basically taking care of education, employment, and entrepreneurship. Now, we are very strong in education and employment. I wouldn't say we are very strong in entrepreneurship. We are trying to figure out this different models right now. Some of them have been very successful. Some of them have been doing okay. So, but education and employment have been a very strong foothold for us. Our mission is to increase the real income of at least 10 million individuals by 2024. And for this, what are we actually doing? Now, what does LaborNet actually do? If you look at it, LaborNet footprint is across India. So we work pan India. I think only places where we are not present right now in Jammu and Kashmir. And that is because of the reasons that was there that we couldn't expand to Jammu and Kashmir. Otherwise, we work across 6,000 pin codes in India. We have enabled more than 10 lakh livelihoods until now. And by education, I mean we work mostly on vocational education. So by vocational education, we work on different kinds of courses. There are 200 plus different courses that we work on right now, and we work extensively in schools. So we work with around 1,000 plus schools via government initiative across pan India. So, but these schools are mostly north, west, and east. South schools haven't really initiated vocational education in the schooling system as of now. So it's mostly government schools that you see this, and mostly in the northern region. We work via different models. So there's school education, there our livelihood centers. We have 150 plus livelihood centers across India, and then we also work on in our major model is the on-site training program. So we work in a very, very systematic way. So we work along with Sector Skill Council, what is called as the Sector Skill Council. So these are the different Sector Skill Councils that we work with. We work with more than 28 Sector Skill Councils. So we work with Agriculture Sector Skill Council, Apparel, Automotive. So it's there on the screen for the audience to see. These are the different Sector Skill Councils we work with. Why do we work with Sector Skill Councils? Because we want to make our training very, very result oriented. It's very, very job oriented. We work alongside workers in the factory so that they're actually working on the job and also learning what we are teaching them practically. So it's not a theory program here. So you can see there are 28 plus different sector skill councils that we work with, and we work on more than 200 job roles, and all the certification is done by National Skill Development Corporation of India. Now, these are the accolades on LaborNet. Excuse that picture because I think I had become very happy during that phase. So you can see I have put on a lot of weight by doing that. But I think we have done very well from the time of inception. From 2008 was when LaborNet actually came into being, and when we were basically working with a lot of construction workers doing insurance cards and BOSW cards and all, and we shifted to skilling and development only in 2011. So post 2011 to now, we are around 2,000 plus employees strong. And these are the various awards that LaborNet has won. And one slide is not enough to cover our clients. So all major, top 500, Fortune 500 companies would be our clients. So these are a few which are mentioned here. So we work with all of them either on their CSR programs or their serious skilling programs. So we have various engagements with them. And these are the clients who have actually come forward during the pandemic to do a lot of donations and take care of the migrant workers. Now, coming to the point of what we actually did during the pandemic. So when the lockdown was declared on March 22nd, Zakaria, am I audible? I'm getting a message that the internet is unstable. Am I audible?
You are, ma'am. You are.
Yeah. So when the lockdown was suddenly announced in March, we were absolutely unprepared. So our assessments were going on, our training programs were going on, and the major population for training for us is at any point in time we have at least 7,000 to 8,000 construction workers in our training program. So all of these workers were kind of stuck very, very badly because I think this lockdown was done without any prior planning. We had no idea. Even on our highway programs which we were doing our training, we got to know only one day before that we need to send the workers back home, and 2 days was not enough to send these workers back home because most of these workers come from Bihar, Orissa, West Bengal. It's very difficult to catch a train within 2 days and send them back home. So we had a very bad situation, as you are aware. These people were actually starving in the sites. The contractors just left them because the contractors themselves were not getting paid. They were absolutely chaos on the site. So as an initiative, what we did in the first stage was, these are generally observations of the workers of how they were feeling. Thousands of them actually walked back home. thousands of them died. We are trying to do a survey right now on how many of them actually lost their lives while they were walking back home. These were either due to accidents or exhaustion or because of lack of food. And for workers who stayed back, we actually convinced them to stay back. We said, don't go, we are going to. Again, there's a lot of things which are done by the government also during during this lockdown. So they quickly tried to provide ration for these migrant workers. A lot of NGOs got together and did a lot of, food distribution. So we did both food distribution as well as ration kit distribution. So we started off basically with Goa as early as end of March. So you can see the pictures there. We started off with Goa as early as March, and then we started off with Bangalore. Bangalore was the next location, and there were three kind of audiences that we were looking in Bangalore. So we were looking at people who have lost their jobs. We were looking at people who were closed in containment areas because there were a lot of containment areas declared in Bangalore. And we were also looking at people who are migrant workers. Now, this is the scene of CST in Mumbai. Okay, Mumbai saw a huge uproar from migrants because they were stuck there. And for these particular migrants in Mumbai, we did food kit distribution for almost 7,000 construction workers in Mumbai across sites. So we literally go in Mumbai, fish out sites which had workers who were stuck, and we did distribution there. And this distribution in Mumbai was sponsored by CRISIL Foundation. There is one story I actually wanted to get to the group. Whenever I feel very depressed or upset during this pandemic, I tend to look at these pictures. These are your disabled dhaga workers. There are rug factories in Jaipur where these workers work, and because of social distancing norms, these workers were laid off. The government said that if you want to run a factory, please reduce the number of employees that can work in factory. So you have only half of the strength working in the factory. And the first ones to lose their jobs were these workers. So these were the workers whom we helped in Jaipur. Then we, of course, had our Delhi. The picture you see on the left side is Badarpur, where there is a huge amount of our population staying there, and in very bad situation, basically. So you see, and we kind of, also because the migrant crisis had taken so much amount of space in the newspapers, that people who were actual daily earners were not given any kind of importance by the corporates. So we had to literally go back to corporates and say it's not only about migrants. They are daily wage earners like your taxi drivers. They are hospitality industry workers. They are even your kirana store owners. They are people who are running like delivery boys. All of them have lost their jobs. So you'll have to give some kind of allocation to people who are daily earners and who have lost their jobs. So everywhere we did our distribution, we kind of, divide the packets in between daily wage earners who have lost their jobs and migrant workers. So you can see that whole line of metro workers in Delhi who are waiting for their food packets. While we were doing all of this distribution, we also realized, see, one thing all of us have missed during this pandemic is estimating how long will the impact of this pandemic is going to last. When we started off very positively that we are going to do this food kit distribution in May, June, and then and then the lockdown opens up. Then things go back to normal, and then everything is going to be as normal as it is right now. But that was an absolute underestimation on our part. So we didn't take the opportunity of the 2 or 3 months to actually prepare people for what's going to come in the coming months. So during this period, we actually prepared a lot of ladies to do mass production. So you can see ladies who are doing this. This is still an ongoing activity, and we still have a lot of orders. And if there are ladies who want to do mask even from any other community or anywhere pan India, you can get in touch with us. We could give them some work orders for making them work during this pandemic. Right. So we started off with mass production on a large scale. We also started off with another program which is called as the Sanitization and Health Professional Program. So this is again sponsored by Government of Karnataka, but it is across India. So we have got sanitization professionals in Tamil Nadu. We have got in, it's pan India. So anybody who wants to get their home sanitized can get in touch with Libinet, as well as in case there are our community members or anybody else who wants to learn the skill and become independent during this pandemic. It's a 2-day training program which is completely online. The kit is given by Libinet, and it helps them being at least independent because sanitization is a day-to-day requirement as of now. right? Apart from that, of course, we are working on other livelihood initiatives. There are a lot of other initiatives also that we are working on right now, depending upon the opportunity. So a lot of opportunity right now for warehousing professionals, for packers and movers, for delivery boys. So I always keep telling that in case somebody requires a job, or anybody, any family which is in requirement right now can get in touch with us, so that we are at least able to give them some kind of jobs. Apart from this, we also went into the healthcare initiative. Healthcare was on the top of our minds because we are kind of linked with Vivo Healthcare. So we started this initiative under Libinet Healthcare in Bangalore. So we started doing the camps for COVID. That is the testing camps for COVID. Apart from that, we are also helping with BBMP admissions. We help with cremations, burials. We also help with sanitization of the homes. We major thing for us is the home isolation package that we take care of in case somebody wants to stay at home, gets treated. One major initiative from LabourNet, which is definitely bringing a lot of good results, is the LabourNet Help Desk. So we have got help desk at all major hospitals in Bangalore right now. Your Boring, Victoria, Philomena's, Martha's, and you name it, it is there, because Baptist, because we want people to be treated under SAST. One thing that I have noticed with us is, now I'm going to talk more from our community point of view, and that is that we are not integrating with the government. So we are trying to do a lot of things on our own. So we are very good at raising funds. So we think we raise 10, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, and that's enough. That's not enough, because the nature of the pandemic is such that you need a lot of money, and that kind of money can only be mobilized by utilizing government services. So what we are doing right now is we are trying to get every patient who is admitted in Bangalore, who is deserving and cannot pay, does not have insurance, does not have cash. We get them admitted under Suvarna Karnataka Arogya scheme, so that their reimbursement is taken care of by the government. One more thing that I noticed, particularly since I have got, I got stuck in Bijapur during my pandemic. I basically work out of Bangalore. Is while we were working with the community in Bijapur, we realized that many of our, people are not, registered under any kind of government scheme. We do a lot of registration, lakhs of registration per year. But what happens is the people who are closest to you are the people you tend to neglect, because your vision is always far. So you tend to look more long term, you tend to look more away from yourselves than people who are with us. So there's a complete lack of registration. We have got requests, for example, from 600 worker group from a location, from Gauri Bidno to be very precise, location very close to Alipur. 600 construction workers not registered under BOCW, not registered under any government scheme for food kits. We did send the food kits, but what I realized was they lost out on the cash payout by the government. Government did pay out crores of rupees into bank accounts of people who are registered under BOCW with their Aadhaar linked to bank account, and this was lost by these workers who, in spite of being construction workers, are not registered. Similarly, we lost out on 100 workers in Mandia. Again, request from our own people saying 100 workers in Mandia. See, we can do so much as a group, but if you are able to integrate with the system, if you are able to get our people to know what are the different schemes available from the government, it helps them to avail it. And that's the kind of thing which is required also. We need to integrate more with the system than being away from the system and forming our own groups. Right. Apart from this, we are also helping with equipment for hospitals. So we have got a lot of equipment donated by various people, Mission Vishwas, Azim Premji Foundation. Now we are working with CFAR, we are working with ACT Grant. ACT Grant is very keen to give high-end equipment to hospitals like HFNC and stuff, which is quite expensive. So we are working with various hospitals in rural Karnataka to see that how these equipment can be made available to these particular hospitals. So we are working with the equipment. That's another thing which I forgot to mention. So in case somebody is coming up with a COVID center and they would want equipment to be procured, this can be easily done through funds and grants. What I have seen is people are ready to give equipment and one-time funding for setting up a center, but any of the corporates are not actually ready to run a center because it entails a lot of capital. It takes around 50 to 60 lakhs a month to run a 100-bedded center. So it is better to integrate our people with government grants, government, health card, health initiatives, instead of just sitting there, right? If we could have had insurance for people, it would have helped a lot. If we would have had just, initiated one Ayush card for all the community, for everybody for that matter, for that particular area, just take a Richmond town and get everybody enabled on the card, all the BPL card holders. It helps a lot rather than running pillar to post on seeing how their medical expenses are going to be reimbursed and who is going to be funding it. So one observation again I'm saying is there is a division which is clearly required in terms, and this is not applicable only to Muslims, but I think it is applicable to everybody. Is having separate community leaders and religious leaders, right? So when you are having religious leaders are doing their bit, they are doing whatever they can. So they are very good in their knowledge. But now with advent of YouTube, they come on YouTube, they give such nice they address so well. So I also follow them a lot. But when it comes to our community leaders, we are not actually looking at people who can actually link you up with the right people, don't have that kind of networks, and people who are having that network are not coming forward to link that create that right linkages. So my only request to the younger generation as well as people who are watching this program is just see how you can integrate yourself and your network to help the community. So I will take questions in the end. I think I have spoken about most of the initiatives. Now our training programs also restarting by tomorrow. We had a big lull from March to now. We had nothing in terms of training, and we were only concentrating on COVID relief efforts. Now we are going to concentrate more from livelihood point of view and how to get people back into employment again. Thank you so much. Thanks, Zakaria, and thanks, sir, for calling me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your work reminds me of a story. Let me just share it with you. There was a man walking down the street, and then he sees a needy person dying of hunger. He looks up to the sky and asks God, why aren't you doing anything? And he doesn't get a reply. And the next day, God replies to him and says, I have certainly done something, and that is I have made you. So it is through us that God helps people. And you are that form example that, yes, let us not just get bored and stay at home and waste our precious time. Every single day can be a day to bring a change. And thank you so much for your insightful work. And you have been in helping the people of Bangalore, as to my notice and across, to another level, man. So we look forward to work with you for many such initiatives, especially your LabourNet Healthcare, which you've launched a few weeks back to help the patients of COVID-19 is, I would say, incredible. We congratulate you and your team, and we look forward to meet with you, man.
Thank you so much, Zakaria. Thank you so much.
Okay, before we move to our next speaker, I would like to share the poll number 3. I'm launching the poll. If you could just fill in the answers. The question is, can we establish equality and no discrimination spaces in our surroundings? I repeat, can we establish equality and no discrimination spaces in our surroundings? And we will take the answers after the next speaker. And I'm really excited to introduce to you our next speaker of the evening, a very good friend, my elder brother, Dr. Muhammad Abbas Khaki from London. You can see him, he's still in the scrubs, he's in his clinic, and I know how the situation in UK right now is. I would say thank you so much for making time and participating in this webinar. And also your beloved wife, Dr. Saida, couldn't join us. I totally understand. And these guys have been working on a Sunday when most of the Sundays we are sitting at home and chilling. And Dr. Muhammad Abbas Khaki, who's a founder trustee of Hussain Foundation, London, and also an international health worker who has been working across borders. He's famously known for his work in Bangladesh, Iraq, Palestine, Syria, and many more countries. So I welcome Dr. Muhammad Abbas Khaki to please share his thoughts and inspire us to carry this work forward.
Sure, thank you so much, Zakaria. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon everybody who's watching. And I'd like to thank you all once again for making such amazing efforts to get this Hussain Day together this year. We are in unprecedented times, aren't we? And yet the compassion, the dedication, to the cause of Hussein, the cause of social justice, the cause of betterment of humanity. And in this year's beautiful idea of the service to humanity is incredible. And I think once again, we must thank Aga Sultan and his father and all of those who've come before us to start this brilliant initiative. I wanted to speak very briefly today, only a few minutes, on a couple of things to do with the service for humanity. As Zakaria mentioned, at Pre-Hussain, we've had the opportunity to work for the betterment of the global community, and we've had some incredible achievements, something like 500,000 people we've fed, we've done 400,000 plus acts of kindness, and in the last few months with COVID-19, we launched the Hope and the 40 Neighbors campaign, and we're able to support neighbors around the world, impacting the lives of 100,000 people, giving them food, giving them support, and giving them PPE when they desperately need it. And I think we were very lucky and blessed to have that service to humanity. But when I reflect on what service to humanity is, there's two main things that come out. One is the story of Abraham, a really powerful story, which speaks to all of us. There's a time when Abraham, a blessed person of God, is being thrown into a fire by the ruler of the time. And when that's happening, there's an amazing story of a little frog, and the little frog picks up water in its mouth and takes it to the fire, spits it, then walks back to where the water is. And as it comes back, the fire's gone even further. And everyone says, you know, what are you doing? And this little bird comes up, and the parable is the bird says, you know, why are you spitting water on it? Every time you go, you take a small amount of water, you're not doing anything. And the frog says to the bird, well, look, all I can do is take water. That's all I have in my ability. He says, what is my maximum ability I'm going to do, so that when I get to the end and I meet my maker, I'm going to say, look, I did everything I could do to the best of my ability. And I think that's really important when we think about service to humanity, because we've got to remember, we are in unprecedented times. We're at COVID-19. We all have our own different challenges. So the first thing is to say, whatever you can do your best. However you can support, do whatever you can do to the best of your capacity. And the second one is really a message for those people who are watching right now who are thinking, I'm young, I'm energetic, I want to do something. I want to support, I want to make a difference. This is really for the youth, because Pre-Hussain started when we were in our youth. We were all young chaps. I hope somehow I'm retaining some of my youth, but we were all very young, we were energetic. And I remember one of the people said to me, you know, we managed to get this to an organization which is all around the world, and we've had incredible efforts in India, facilitated through the Laureate Foundation and through Dr. Zakaria, Razi, Aga Sultan Saab, all doing incredible efforts to facilitate global coordination. But it's their youth that's made the difference, that's power, that engine. So if you're watching this at home and you're thinking, I'm a young person, I'm in that time when I can do what I want to. I could set up a business, I could make more money, or I could really go and serve humanity. I think it's really important that we turn to one of the books of the Gita. And it's a brilliant saying that a colleague told me. He says, in the Gita, God says, gift your best flower to God. And I spoke to a colleague, I spoke to a Hindu priest, and I said to him, what do you mean by that? What does gift your best flower to God mean? Because I said to him, you know, I wish maybe I should have started a business. Maybe I should have done this with my time. He said, gift your best flower to God means that when you're young, when you're energetic, when your flower is blooming, when it's fresh and it's ready to grow, give that energy, give that support, give that time and impetus, and you will really grow. It's easy when we're older and we've made our money, we are settled, to say, I'm going to do something, I'm going to donate. And that's really great. And it's important to have that. But when you're young and energetic and you can really make amazing strides, you understand society, that's when we should really give our flower to God, as it's said in the sacred books, and to serve humanity in the best way we can. So the two things I wanted to leave you with were, whatever our capacity is, let's be like that frog and let's do what we can. And the second thing is, let's give our best flower to God in the service of humanity. And I'd like to thank you all for such a wonderful program and some fantastic speakers. And I will, with that, hand back to Dr. Zakaria.
Thank you so much, brother Mohammed Abbas. Let me just tell you, the audience, that he is not only an inspiration to me, because see, he has created a platform. few years back, 6 years back, of course, my dad's been doing some incredible work, and as a small way, I've been a part of it. But the youngsters especially, they need that required platform to express themselves. And Who's Hussain, which was initiated in the year 2012, and today it is spread across 5 continents and 25 countries with hundreds of city representatives and many, many more volunteers. It has empowered people like me and many more who've been a part of this audience. I would want to thank you and the entire fraternity of Who's Hussain, who are doing incredible work every single day. For example, in Lebanon, we had a crisis. Immediately the team, within few hours, they came up with a campaign of rebuilding homes. That's what Who's Hussain is all about. And some years previously, they also had a refugee camp somewhere in the Syria-Lebanon border. And I would also like to touch the incredible work what we have done together, the GIFT campaign to help the children of Iraq. So I had invited Dr. Saida, who's stuck in the clinic today. So I would like to share that me along with Dr. Saida and Dr. Mohammad Abbas Khaki, along with, of course, the team of Who's Hussain and my father, Mr. Aga Sultan, and with the help of Dr. Devi Prasad Shetty, the chairman of Narayana Health City, together we have been catering to the children of Iraq who are born with congenital heart defects. As you know, today people are busy discussing politics, who's right, who's wrong. But as doctors, we realize we need to come on the ground and help solve the problem. Children are born with congenital heart defects as a direct consequence of war. When there's war, there's poverty, there's malnourishment, and because of faltering healthcare, they're born with congenital heart defects. And this is one area very few organizations have been working because it involves extremely high risk. Of course, with the support of my father, Mr. Aga Sultan, and Dr. Devi Shetty, who helped us subsidize the cost of operation, and Who's Hussain helped raise the funds globally. And today, I would say this is one of the most successful campaigns till date. And this has opened our doors to many other countries. Inshallah, we're going to be working in countries like Syria, Bangladesh, Yemen, and keeping Indian healthcare as a collaborative partner. This is a firm example how we all can work together. With this, Brother Mohammad Abbas Khaki, I don't want to take much of your time. And believe me, he responded to my messages 5 minutes back because he's been completely busy. It's very generous of him. He's joined us. And I want to wish you all the best. Please stay safe. And if you have any questions for Dr. Mohammad Abbas, please ask him. I'll convey to him. And you are our leader. And inshallah, we want to amplify our efforts and reach out to many more.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me again. And salam to everybody there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, brother. Before I go to the next speaker, I would see the polling questions. The question was, okay, 1 second. Can we establish equality and no discrimination spaces in our surroundings? Of course, yes, we have 97% and no 3%. I would still convey to the 3-4% to please get in touch with us so that we can create an impact. Thank you so much. Now, before I introduce our next speaker, I would speak a few words about him. Mr. Hayat Amiri, I would say a dear brother of mine and a very good friend who is resided in New Delhi. He is based from Afghanistan, but because of the chaos, he migrated to India. And today, he has given us an example that to win over hate, it's only love which can do the work. You can win hate with love. He has not stopped himself saying that I myself have a lot of problems. He has transformed his problems into solutions, and he has been working in peace building areas. I welcome to you, Mr. Hayat Amiri, a young dynamic public speaker and a peace builder from Afghanistan, but I consider you as an Indian. And so I would want you to share a few words with us of how you can inspire in peace building and how we can make this world a better place to live in. Welcome you, brother. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Zakaria. Thank you very much, everyone. It's lovely to hear from everyone. और actually मैं खुद को एक इंडियन मानता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे मेरा मानना ये है कि जहाँ रहते हो वहाँ आपकी responsibility है, वहाँ आपका घर है. So thank you so much. I would of course like to thank Aga Sultan sir for organizing this and congratulating him for organizing Hussain Day virtually. It's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. And it's always great for me. And it's a pleasure to be back here and do something, and sort of being part of the family. Jab ایکچولی میں 1992 میں سول وار کے ٹائم پہ افغانستان میں پیدا ہوا تھا, تو تب سے لے کر پھر we went to Pakistan and then down to back to India as a refugee. تو پوری زندگی میری جو ہے ایز اے ریفیوجی رہا ہے. فی الحال انڈیا میں ابھی بھی میں ریفیوجی ہوں, ریکگنائزڈ بائی یونائٹڈ نیشنز ہائی کمشنر فار ریفیوجیز. تو اس دوران پہ, جنگ کے دوران پہ ایسے حالات پر جہاں پر we have lost families, we have seen people dying in front of us, we have seen people, women and girls being raped in front of us, and then living in a country like Pakistan and then having no food at all, working in factories. I have seen a lot of hatred in my life. یعنی میں کیسے آپ کو یہ سمجھاؤں کہ میرے خود کے لیے نفرت کافی ایزی چیز ہے. کسی کو نفرت کرنا بہت ہی آسان ہے, کسی کو مارنا, کسی کو گالی دینا بہت ہی آسان ہے, کیونکہ مجھے لگتا ہے جیسے ہی آپ لو کی بات کرتے ہو, کائنڈنس کی بات کرتے ہو, پیس کی بات کرتے ہو, یہ سب ایک ایجوکیشن ہے, اور مجھے ویسے نفرت کا ہی ایجوکیشن ملا ہے. تو مجھے لگتا تھا کہ میرے لیے نفرت کرنا بہت ایزی ہو جاتا تھا, چاہے میں اپنی بہنوں سے بات کر رہا ہوں یا گھر میں میرا سلوک, تو ایزی ہو جاتا تھا. لیکن میں اپنی لائف میں ایک چیز سیکھ چکا ہوں کہ the whole, what you become at the end of the day is because of the sum of choices you make down the line. اور مجھے ایک شعر یاد آتا ہے, میں فارسی شعر ہے, میں پڑھنا چاہتا ہوں, پھر اس کا ترجمہ جو ہے میں اردو میں کر دیتا ہوں. شعر ہے کہ حرف بد رو بر لبا بردن خطاست. حرف بد یعنی word, the bad word. حرف بد رو بر لبا بردن خطاست, کافر و مومن همه خلق خداست. آدمیت احترام آدمی, با خبر باش از مقام آدمی. بنده عشق از خدا گیرد طریق, می شود بر کافر و مومن شفیق. یعنی برا بول زبان پر لانا غلط ہے, یعنی برا بولنا بھی زبان پر لانا غلط ہے. کافر ہو یا مومن سبھی اللہ کی مخلوق ہے. آدمیت احترام آدم ہے, احترام آدم مقام آدم سے باخبر ہو جا. بندہ عشق یعنی اچھا انسان, بندہ عشق خدا کی راہ پر چلتا ہے, اور کافر و مومن سبھی کے لیے مہربان ہوتا ہے. This is an example of my life. جب میں امام حسین علیہ السلام کے بارے میں بات کرتا ہوں یا سنتا ہوں, میرے لیے صرف ایک شخصیت نہیں ہے, میں صرف ایک چیز کے بارے میں سوچتا ہوں, امام حسین یعنی درس حسین, درس حسین یعنی درس انسانیت. تو یہ ہمیشہ سوچتا ہوں کہ اچھا اب میں اپنی زندگی میں امام حسین علیہ السلام کی زندگی سے کیا سیکھ سکتا ہوں, ایسا کیا کر سکتا ہوں ایز این انڈیویجول. شاید آپ لوگ بھی یہی سوچتے ہوں گے, کافی لوگ ہمارے ساتھ ہیں, تقریباً 56 ہے, اور یوٹیوب پہ بھی بہت سارے لوگ سن رہے ہوں گے, کہ یہ سوچو آپ پوری زندگی امام حسین علیہ السلام کے بارے میں سنتے آئے ہو, لوگوں نے کہا ہے, کافی اچھی اچھی باتیں بھی کی ہے. ایکچولی میں اپنی زندگی میں آپ نے کیا کیا ہے, یہ اب سوچتے رہتے ہو کہ اچھا کام کیسے کیا جائے. میں بتاتا ہوں چھوٹی سی بات, میں زیادہ آگے نہیں جاتا ہوں کہ کربلا میں کیا ہوا, یہ زیادہ آگے نہیں جاتا, چھوٹی سی بات. اگر اپنے گھر میں اپنے ماں باپ سے آپ احترام سے بات کرتے ہو تو آپ نے درس حسین سیکھا ہے. اگر آپ اپنے بھائی بہنوں سے اچھی طرح بات کرتے ہو, انہیں احترام دیتے ہو, محبت سے بات کرتے ہو, تو آپ نے درس حسین سیکھا ہے, آپ میں درس حسین ہے. اگر آپ اپنے لیفٹ اور رائٹ میں دیکھتے ہو اور دیکھتے ہو کہ یہاں پر ایسے لوگ ہیں, ایسے لوگ ہیں جو میرے مذہب سے نہیں ہیں, اور پھر بھی آپ انہیں محبت دیتے ہو, انہیں آپ ان سے پیار سے بات کرتے ہو, انہیں آپ اپناتے ہو, گلے ملتے ہو, تمام تفرقات دور کرتے ہو, تو یقین مانو کہ آپ میں درس حسین ہے. آپ کو یہ پتا نہیں ہے لیکن آپ میں یہ درس حسین ہے. جس وقت آپ نے کسی بیچارے کو, آپ کے حساب سے کسی پور بندے کو دیکھا اور آپ نے تھوڑا سا ہیلپ کر دیا اور کسی کو کچھ اچھا بات کہہ دیا جو اس دن اس کو اچھا لگ گیا, تو یقین مانو آپ نے درس حسین سیکھ لیا. آپ کو دنیا چینج کرنے کی ضرورت نہیں, آپ کو پوری کنٹری چینج کرنے کی ضرورت نہیں. جس دن آپ نے اپنے اندر انسانیت کو الاؤ کیا, انسانیت کو ویلکم کیا, تو یقین مانو اس دن آپ نے امام حسین کو اپنے دل میں پایا. یہ میرا ماننا ہے, یہ میرا بالکل سمپل. اب میں اپنی زندگی سے के खिलाफ के मुख्तलिफ कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ. I represent an organization called Non-Violence Project Foundation. अब मैंने पहले ही कहा था, मानना क्या है कि नॉन वायलेंस और वायलेंस दोनों एक एजुकेशन है जो आपको अपनी जिंदगी में मिलता है. तो नॉन वायलेंस प्रोजेक्ट फाउंडेशन क्या करता है कि इन्होंने तकरीबन 10 मिलियन लोगों को आज तक ट्रेन किया है. व्हाट वी डू इज इन 93 कार्ल फेडरिक एक आर्टिस्ट है, उन्होंने नॉन वायलेंस का एक लोगो बनाया है जो लोडेड गन है. आपने यूनाइटेड नेशन में भी देखा होगा. दिस इज द ऑफिशियल सिंबल ऑफ पीस एंड नॉन वायलेंस. ये हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का लोगो भी है. उन्होंने क्या कहा कि जॉन लेनन आप सब जानते हो, उनको जिसने मारा ये कौन था. फिर उसने सोचा कि यार जिस बंदे ने जॉन लेनन को असैसिनेट किया था वो एक जवान बंदा था. ही वाज अ यंग पर्सन. तो उन्होंने कहा ऐसी वजह क्या है, इनसे पूछ लेते हैं. तो जाके उनसे पूछा कि व्हाई डिड यू किल जॉन लेनन. उन्होंने कहा कुछ नहीं, मुझे बस किसी अमीर आदमी को, बड़े आदमी को मारना था. तो कहा अच्छा. तो उन्होंने सोचा कि यार ये एक एजुकेशन है. तो young people are resorting to violence that because that is the only choice they have. तो क्या करना चाहिए? They said we should create an education that teaches them how to be kind, how to be compassionate, that brings on the life values to them. So that's when in 93 Non-Violence Project Foundation came into existence. And so far we have been active in almost 30 countries, training and educating young people, teachers, trainers on how to resolve conflict in a very non-violent manner. The programs that we have are called, School for Peace program. हम यहाँ School for Peace program में क्या करते हैं? We teach them how to listen very compassionately, completely practice it into your life, how to become non-violent, how to have patience in your life, how to be compassionate listener through social emotional learning skills. Our manuals are globally prepared. People like, Messi or our, ambassadors, and even Obama, the former president of United States, said that this is one of the best peace education in the world. ये office जो है India में recently started, so I have trained about 3,500 students in the art of conflict resolution, and trained 150 teachers who would then be able to go and further train students in the art of conflict resolution, and collaborated with around 5 schools so far. जब मैं ये चीजें करता हूँ तो मुझे खुशी मिलती है. मुझे लगता है कि मैं हज़रत इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम की जिंदगी को लेकर थोड़ा कुछ ना कुछ करने की कोशिश करता हूँ. और जब आप सोचते हो कि इस पैंडेमिक में मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, व्हाट शुड आई डू, व्हाट कैन आई डू, तो जब आप सोचते हो, ये नियत आती है आप पर कि आपको कुछ करना है, दैट इटसेल्फ मींस कि आप ऑलरेडी एक मेहरबान इंसान हो. तभी ड्यूरिंग द पैंडेमिक हम कुछ कर नहीं पाए. We did not have a budget, schools were not open, universities were not open. So what we did is I collaborated with some poets and artists. उनसे क्या कहा कि we need to promote what happens at home. जैसे pandemic हुआ, confinement at home happened, and then we realized that women are at home and they're not able to report violence at home. They're there with their perpetrators. तो हमने कहा as an organization हम क्या कर सकते हैं? What can I do? So we came with an idea that we will create poetries that speaks of this violence at home, and we will try to promote violence at home. We'll see in a way to see that, okay, this is what's happening, and create an awareness that this is what's happening. The pandemic is also affecting people. The greatest virus is not the coronavirus, it's the virus of hate that's happening in our society. It's the virus of the divide that's happening. It's the virus of targeting one religion for what's happening with everyone. So we thought, okay, we should do something like that. Young people, children, girls, women are at home with their perpetrators, and we should become their voice some way. तो हमें ये ट्राई करना चाहिए. और कुछ टाइम तक तो मैं खुद ही सोच रहा था एज एन इंडिविजुअल मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन रुक गया, जॉब मेरी चली गई, कुछ मिल नहीं रहा, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, व्हाट कैन आई डू. ये शायद सवाल आप लोगों में भी आया होगा, क्योंकि घर बैठे बैठे जॉब नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, तो आप क्या कर सकते हो. अच्छे लोग अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ. तो one day I came up with this thought that maybe I can call out my friends जिनको मैं जानता हूँ foreign countries में जहाँ पर है, और मैं यहाँ पर तकरीबन 100-200 families को जानता हूँ जो refugees है और उनके पास job नहीं है. They were dependent on their daily wage, and they don't have money to pay for their rent, for their ration and everything. So what can I do? Instead of posting it on social media, having a bragging about it, this is what I did is मैंने कुछ मेहरबान लोग जो कनाडा और अमेरिका में थे, उनसे मैंने बात किया कि देखो ऐसे लोग हैं, मैं इन्हें हेल्प करना चाहता हूँ. तो दे सेड ऑलराइट, हम थोड़ा थोड़ा रेज करके आपको पैसे दे देंगे, आप उनके रेंट के लिए काम कर लो. So gladly, I'm very happy that they came forward, and I raised around 2 million Indian rupees. तो पिछले 4-5 महीनों से I have been sending rents to around 100 families who are really in need of this help, and this gives me an happiness. Okay, even with no money in my pocket, with no job that I have lost, I've been laid off, and there is no money that's coming to me. Even my family is actually struggling. But yet again, जब आपके दिल में नियत होती है ना इंसानियत के लिए, तो समझ लो आपके दिल में इमाम हुसैन है. I will not take further time. मैं चाहता हूँ कि आपके सवाल आए मेरी तरफ, और I hope I could respond to those questions. And I'm very happy and grateful to Agha Sultan sir for giving me this chance to speak. मैं prepare बिल्कुल नहीं था, सोचा मैं दिल से जो दिल में जो आता है वो कह दूँ, और मैं फख्र करता हूँ. वाकई में मैं हर जगह जाता हूँ तो इसके बारे में बात करता हूँ कि I'm very proud of being this part of this fraternity and being able to somehow do a little good in the world. It's not that I want to do good in the world or I should be a good person. No, it's just that because as an insan, being part of insaniyat, it's my responsibility. I won't take your time. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being part of this program. And again, I congratulate Agha sir for doing this, for organizing this, and Zakaria Abbas brother. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brother Hayat. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. And like I mentioned in the comment section, you're not only a good public speaker, but you're a great shair. So I would like to say that you need to start exploring in that area. I'm sure you're going to do wonders. And your story has definitely given us hope. During these unprecedented times, I think it's just hope that can change the world. Hope is not just a word. Hope is a driving force. And you have shown us what hope can do. You have converted hate into love, and you're continuing to spread this, which is really inspirational. Thank you so much, brother. Before I go to the next speaker, I will release the next poll, sorry. So the next poll is this. Can we feed the planet without destroying it? This is one important area where we need to talk about climate change, the environment, because today we're justifying industrialization at the cost of cutting down trees and also depleting our natural resources. So if you believe what is the best way to feed the planet without destroying it, and I please request you to send your answers in the comment section. And from this poll, whoever sends an answer, we are willing to give you a free Hussain Day mask. So I think for that, if you can have good response, it will be great. And the poll will be going on. And now I take the privilege to introduce to you our next speaker of the evening, Mr. Mukhtar Karim from London. He is the chairman of Lady Fatima Trust, whose central ethos is to give everything what is needed to a downtrodden individual, and across the borders, across the religion. Mr. Mukhtar Karim has been continuing his legacy, the legacy laid by his father, his beloved late father, who probably, inshallah, end of this session, we're going to recite a Surah Fatiha for. He established a legacy and he is continuing it in the best possible way. He is established his foundation and doing an incredible work in war-torn countries, especially the city of Karbala. His model of mothernomics is world famous, and I would want you to listen to his model from him. I would want to speak less. And now I would like to call upon Mr. Mukhtar Karim, sir, to please speak and inspire us, and please let us know how we can be a part of your beautiful initiative. Over to you, Mr. Mukhtar Karim, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good evening. Good day from any other part of the world in which you are. It's so humbling to have such an introduction from my younger brother, Dr. Zakaria. My only prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at this point is, may Allah make me worthy of some of what you have said about me. And I hope that over the next 10 minutes that I've been allocated, we're able to share some thoughts, invite some ideas, and build greater collaboration for what we're doing. It is no accident that the foundation of whom I lead at the moment is named after none other than the Holy Mother of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It is quite an injustice often where we look at the contribution that humanity provides in all its facets without recognizing the mentor, the nurturer, the provider, the hand that first held the finger, the arms that hugged every one of us as we arrived in this world and bore us for 9 months before we arrived in this world. It is no accident that great individuals like Imam Hussein alayhi salam were born to mothers like Lady Fatima salamullahi alayha. Because as he stood in Medina saying, Mithli la yubayo mithla, I will not bow to an individual like that. Your injustices are not something I can stand for. Because you know what? In this very place, in Masjid al-Nabawi in Medina, my mother made that stand and said, your injustices after my father's death, I will not stand for. Motherhood, that critical role is what the Lady Fatima Salamullahi Alayha Trust has been promoting and recognizing, particularly at the onset of this new decade. And what an interesting new decade we arrived in. But I would not be doing this talk any justice in recognizing the fact that the spirit of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the spirit of Lady Fatima alayhi salam, we're inspired to carry on by individuals like Agha Sultan, who carry that torch, who selflessly serve that cause year on, year out, and can speak of decades of service. And my brother Zakaria, who so selflessly pushes that baton forwards in this work. I would like to pray for the good health and well-being of your family as you carry on this work with great nobility and great pride to our community to say that you are leaders within our community. So what is the work of the Lady Fatima Trust in their Million Mothers narrative? Million Mothers was a project that we launched at the beginning of this decade to honor the lady in whose name the charity is formed. All around us, we see broken societies, countries that are without civil society functioning. And it feels daunting to say that I want to change the state of the world, the state of a nation. But the common denominator across all of this is the mother. If we were able to help the mother, heal the mother, provide to the mother, then we heal the family. And with a stronger family, we're better placed to heal a community. With healed communities, we march forward with healed societies that lead healed nations. That pivotal role played by that first teacher, first mentor, first role model, first creator that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses to help me build in my life is that mother in society that we want to work with. So Million Mothers looked at the work that the Lady Fatima Trust achieved over the past 21 years. And so how do we leverage that going forward with effective partnerships, with effective governance tools to see that where next, what is it that we want to effect in society? Little did we know that as we launched the pledge of helping 1 million mothers over the next decade, we are starting the decade in a pandemic. And I'll say a little bit more about how that work was in an agile manner deployed to make that happen. So the first area that we looked at is motherhood itself, safe pregnancies and birth. How can we sit here in 2020 and say that a mother dies in childbirth every 90 seconds around the world? Pre-pandemic, one person does not die of COVID every 90 seconds. And we're working so hard to stop the spread of it, and rightly so. That is what we ought to be doing. But there's no more natural phenomenon in Allah's creation than motherhood. Every mammal is given birth to by a mother. And yet we look around us and 2 children are often in developing worlds on average because their mother dies young in childbirth. So that is the first area we looked at. Now, in every of the next 4 areas, this and the next 4 areas that I look at, the key questions are very simple. What we look at is, so what, now what, and then what? So just bear those in mind. Do I care that a mother dies in childbirth every 90 seconds around the world? That in the 10 minutes of time allocated to me, 6 mothers will have died? Doing nothing more than giving birth to a child. Now what? I want to save the life of that mother. Is it the case of sending $10 to the clinic where that mother will give birth? Is it a matter of putting a $100 facility and training there? Or can we be brave and say, we want to eliminate maternal deaths in target areas of the world where it is highly prevalent, to say no mother should ever die in childbirth in those parts, and incrementally widen that net and say, for the love of the mother of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, I will not tolerate a single mother ever preventably dying in childbirth in those parts, and help the children not suffer in infant mortality or any preventable disease. So that is the first slip, maternal healthcare. My mother should be able to give birth safely across parts. And on that note, we've launched a program in Zanzibar of the east coast of Africa to 0 maternal childbirths across there. Needlessly, mothers are suffering, infants are dying of preventable disease. So in the honor of the mother of Lady Fatima, that is the first scheme. The second point is that very basic cry of thirst that the mother's children face day in, day out, whatever day of the week it is, whether she's well or not, whether it's summer or winter, irrespective of the season, that mother has to walk to fetch water. On average, in East Africa and on the subcontinent, the areas in which we work, between 2 kilometers and 10 kilometers were recorded. Some up mountainous plains. Osteoporosis sets in earlier. The number of miscarriages in the mother is high. And mothers who are unwell, particularly vulnerable to dehydration, still need to make that journey. Can we not be inspired by Karbala to say, I never want a mother to have to walk more than 100 yards for her walk to water? Bring water to her doorstep. Because you know what? Water is not just a source of drinking, it is a source of life. Having got clean water, you can hydrate, you can promote clean hygiene, but also irrigate land. It was quite an eye-opener for us, having created a number of schemes across the subcontinent and East Africa and the Middle East, to see that once you have clean water, people start irrigating farmland again. These day laborers who lost their jobs in the city and walked back to their ancestral homes had some very fertile lands around them. If they were given the provision to farm, we found that they were not in need of food subsidies, but were sending food back to the cities that they'd left. So good crops were going back from the farmlands into the cities that they had departed. Now, this is not an accident of the pandemic. It depends on how we choose to respond to the pandemic. In your Western neighboring country, we have created 55 schemes of between 3 and 5 acres of land, where a water well, together with a solar pump, irrigates 3 to 5 acres, and from that wheat, spinach, okra, tomatoes, aubergines, day-to-day products are grown, sufficient for the families living around that facility. But then wider than that, excess is sold on at the local market, and others are fed off it. The feeding programs, the environment being, your last poll question, the environment being able to feed the communities in the right balance, guided by Risalat al-Dhahabiyya of Imam Rida alayhi salam, is actually in process in these communities. Again, we replicate that in East Africa, from a small-scale farm owner in Pemba growing watermelons to a large-scale 120-acre holding for export products, but looking at subsistence farming as well for the farmers. So eradicating that walk for water for the love of Abul Fadl Abbas and by the thirst of Karbala, but serving humanity across those. The third area is the mother's children receiving education. So the pandemic has shut down classrooms and facilities for learning. Again, I borrow from Gaza, where the deaf school that the Lady Fatima Trust has worked with over the last 14 years is able to provide an online learning platform for the children who are locked at home. So you've got 2 million residents in Gaza living under siege. This community are the deaf children of Gaza who see bombs being dropped over their heads, who see that the pandemic means that they can't leave their tiny homes and are locked in there, but can't even engage with anyone other than their immediate families for long periods of time. It creates a great emotional and mental stress. And additionally, the learning that was created over that period that we were operating classrooms becomes eroded. They'll start forgetting how to use the tools that they learn. So providing laptops and online learning platforms in a pedagogically sound manner for the love of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in the name of his mother has enabled the deaf community in Gaza to create this platform where learning continues in the home, not just for the pandemic. We are not doing this purely to say, for as long as there's a pandemic, this will be useful, but to create a post-pandemic reality, shape the future during this period. Inequalities in society, mithli la yubayu mithla, inequalities that I've tolerated so far, things that I should not have done bay'atu, things that I should not have accepted, are now being brought into the spotlight. The pandemic is an opportunity to cure that pandemic, not that short term, let's just do something about it now and feed that family for the month only. Very vital, absolutely amazing thing to be doing. But it's the now what, let's feed them. Then what? What are they going to do next? Which neatly brings me and segues into the Mothernomics program that Dr. Zakaria mentioned right at the outset. The Mothernomics program that was piloted in Karbala, but is now operational in Gaza, in Palestine, and also in Pakistan, and in process in Yemen and Kenya, is very simple. All it does is take widowed mothers, and we call them mothers because you call someone a widow, they'll behave like a widow. People respond to the manner in which you choose to address them. If I call you, oi, you in the black shirt, it's gonna get a little different answer to then my brother, Dr. Zakaria, I'd like to say something to you, right? Now you treat someone like a widow, they'll behave like a widow. And we found of the 2 million widowed mothers in Karbala, the collection of sponsorship, $50 to $100 a month typically. Go away, run your home on $50 to $100, then come back and queue again for that money next month. 2 years ago, we took the decision of saying, no, this is not an honorable way to be supporting a mother. And we formed the Mothernomics program. Now, a lot of people said to us, hey, you know, putting people through sewing classes, cooking classes, beauticians, teaching, whatever, lots of people have done it before you. And you know what? What will you achieve? Said, well, the worst we can do is 6 months worth of sponsorship goes into a training program. And 6 months we're net, right? So there's no loss there. But alhamdulillah, what the Mothernomics program was designed to do is create an end-to-end scheme of providing the mother with an opportunity. She's now the sole bread earner. She has never completed her primary education, and she's now about to start a skills-based program. So through Mothernomics, we took the widowed mothers that we were sponsoring, and we said to them, first thing we need to do is emotionally heal you. You've been through trauma. Just saying to you, shrug your shoulders and move on is not the right thing to do. So through Mothernomics, going through some psychosocial and emotional well-being programs, we get them ready to understand that the fact that they lost their husband does not mean that their life necessarily should end. They have a life to look forward to. Their typical age is 37. They're widowed mothers as young as 21, 22. And how we empower them to look at the future with boldness, with an opportunity that is transformative, is what Mothernomics set out to do. So working with the Ministry of Labor in Iraq, we put them through skills training programs, particularly in sewing, but also in beauty. And through the pandemic, we had to drop the cooking program for food safety. But focusing on the sewing program, each mother was put through a 3-month training program, at the end of which they graduated in the shrine of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and were presented a certificate from the Ministry of Labor, and also certifying the Lady Fatima Trust's work in Mothernomics. And what that did was showed that they can sell commercial grade garments. They are now capable of selling their goods in market, but it doesn't end there. We created a brand name and a logo that they sell their garments under. We market their products and quality control them. So the buyer is not looking for individual mothers in society and saying, I'll buy 5 from you, I'll buy 10 from you. They're buying in bulk from the Mothernomics program and allowing the mothers to access markets that they traditionally would not even have thought of, they not even have come to. Alhamdulillah, thanks to Allah, over the past 3 months in the pandemic, their sales shifted from what they would have sown in terms of hotel bed linen for the pilgrims to Imam Hussein in Karbala, which had decreased because of low visitor numbers, to the school uniforms of schools, where the schools were shut, to healthcare products, so PPEs and masks. In Karbala, they managed to produce and sell commercially to hospitals, to healthcare institutions, 200,000 masks. And now up to 50,000 PPE suits to the shrine of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, to the hospitals in Karbala, to the municipal council doing the fumigation and the sanitization of the streets of Karbala to make them safe for the pilgrims and the residents, has now been enabled. Over the last 3 months, what Mothernomics has done in Karbala is transformed these mothers who before would queue up for $50 to $100 a month into entrepreneurs who are earning between $350 a month up to recorded cases of $1,200 a month, and there's never a limit. What they produce is what they're given the opportunity to sell and they work on. And the highest power in the narrative is in the I person. You know, things could be done, should be done, would be done if only. But when the mother says, I have done, that speaks volumes. The mother says, I managed to do this and it transformed my life. I can now choose what I eat. My children get a good nutrition on the table. My children go to school without my having to worry where the school fees are going to come from, where the uniforms are going to be bought for, and what trips they can and cannot go on. They can wear shoes. I can give them gifts for Eid without waiting for someone to throw something in our direction, or my having to apologize to my children, sorry, we don't have anything for Eid because no donor came along to give us anything. That transformation of saying, I made that journey from the mother, inspires more mothers, and that work grows. In the short time that I've got left, the last thing that I want to cover is the emotional well-being. All of our programs are underpinned by one, to say the emotional healing of the communities we're working with is paramount to what we do. In the COVID situation, the 3 Ps we worked to were protect in healthcare terms, by educating, by providing the water, by enabling people, even through the deaf communities that we work with the other disadvantaged communities we work with, to protect their health and ensure that they had access to medical facilities. But we also preserve earning, like we did with the Mothernomics program in Karbala, and also the farming communities around the areas we worked in. Alhamdulillah, we're fortunate enough in Yemen to be able to serve 100,000 individuals through the pandemic and the war situation before that, to be able to do this. And this was the only now what. The then what is to introduce Mothernomics type programs for them to be able to go in it. But all of these communities, whether war-torn, whether widowed at a young age, whether it's a locust invasion eating up all the crops, whether it's the pandemic, recognizes, respects, and helps them understand that you're not alone. We're in this together, a community that is formed by the love of the Ahlul Bayt, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his mother, Lady Fatima salamullahi alayha, and we serve going forward anyone that needs it through scalable and replicable models, through models that are designed to encourage partnership, through models that need a bit of fine tuning for contextual application, but with one thing in mind. Honor is not something you donate. Honor is not something you buy in the shops. Dignity and honor are earned through hard work that these communities are willing to give by giving the opportunity. I'll end on a saying that a very close friend of mine who is a professor in pediatrics mentioned to us about the work of the Lady Fatima Trust. He said, look, any charity worth its salt will take money and give it from where it's available in abundance and divert it to somewhere where it is needed. And that is addressing the poverty of resource. If you don't even manage to do that, don't call yourself a charity, right? It's the basic. It's the hygiene factor of what you do. You do it accountably, and you do it with greater impact. That's what you do anyway. But the two poverties that we seek to address as well are the poverty of hope, where someone feels, I have hope that tomorrow can be better than today, and today is better than yesterday, and my children, through their education, will create a better generation of leaders through being enabled on this. And the final one being the poverty of imagination. Can you imagine things being any different? Yes, it's not that it could be, it should be, it would be. We say it is, and it will be, inshallah. With that, I thank you all profusely, and all the presenters that have gone before me, who spoke far more eloquently in a far more impactful and powerful manner than I could even imagine to. It was an honor listening to you all. It's an honor participating in this. And our prayers go to all those who have worked tirelessly over the decades to enable this, to move the work much further forward. I hope many alliances are formed out of this to leverage off and make the work more effective. I would love to hear from your ideas. I've shared a few of my own. For the love of our mother, I want to talk to anyone who was not born to a mother and convince him that the Mothernomics program and the Million Mums is something we want to do. But if we're all born to a mother, let us honor our mothers and make this work happen for millions of mothers out there who are needlessly suffering and can be given a better chance. For every orphan that we make smile, let us make the mother that stands behind him, who is orphaned and that who very few people ever ask after, also smile. So the orphan's smiling carries on for much longer. My respectable and honored patron, Agha Sultan, your work has inspired us and continue inspiring us for so much longer. For that light that Imam Hussein alayhi salam has lit in your hearts, you have shared with each and every one of us, and each and every one of us feels that light in us and has helped us carrying forward. I wish you a very safe and pleasured rest of the session and evening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, Karbala is the guiding light for humanity. You have proved from your talk, as Quran clearly mentions in chapter 5, verse 32, saving one life is equivalent to saving entire mankind. And you have empowered women with dignity and respect, which is very important. You spoke about dignity. A woman, dignity cannot be taken away from a woman. You are empowering them so that they can lead a normal life. This also reminds me of a very famous saying of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Two things define you: your attitude when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have everything. It's probably the attitude of those mothers. It's because of their patience and the attitude of you when you had resources and you both connected with each other, and today you have made an impact. I just hope this model is recreated in regions like India. India has a lot of areas where it needs to be worked upon. With the help of your expertise and your resources, we are definitely willing to work with you. We are at your service, and inshallah, we're looking forward to create a change we want to see in this world. Thank you so much, sir.
It was a pleasure.
So I had sent a poll across before, and the result is this. 1 second. Can we feed the planet without destroying it? 94% said yes, and 6% said no. I'm glad that at least majority of us believe and know the importance of our environment, which probably directly impacts our life. Before I go to our next speaker, I will send a next poll. The next poll says service to humanity is just restricted to contributions in monetary terms. Well, this is so important and very relevant to what Mr. Mukhtar Karim just said. You may not be rich to help people. It's all about your right mindset and intention. I'm looking forward to listen to the answers to this question. And in the meanwhile, I would like to go to our next speaker of the evening, a very good friend of mine, my dear brother, Mr. Shah Abbas. Someone who I really look up to, who is known for his energy. He is also the representative of the London chapter of Who's Hussain. And not only Who's Hussain, he doesn't restrict himself to just one organization. He's known for his work across many such charity organizations. And I've personally worked along with him in a few initiatives. And he's very well known to passionately appeal to people in crowdfunding. And if you see his energy, guys, even if a person has no intention of contributing, he has the power of convincing you to be a part of cause. I welcome to you, Mr. Shah Abbas from London. Over to you, brother.
Peace and blessings be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Zakaria Abbas, thank you so much for that introduction. It's very humbling. Before I begin my talk, I just want to take a moment to reflect and thank all the people who have been presenting before me and also who are watching this right now. So thank you so much for taking that time out of your day to come and witness this. And again, my respect to your dad as well. Obviously, our family goes way back where my parents know your parents. I guess my grandparents know your grandparents. It is what it is. We live in a very small world, believe it or not. Okay, so brothers and sisters, today's topic of discussion is service to humanity. What do you mean by service to humanity? What is the definition of humanity? Is it just people or is it more? So service for humanity means anything that is being created by God. That is a saying, service to humanity is service to God. So it's very simple. If we put the foundation of God in service of humanity, our aims and objectives are met. And as very speakers before me have eloquently said, doesn't matter how big you do it, try doing it even a little bit, it makes a huge difference. So what is humanity? Number one, people, neighbors, families, friends, communities, animals, nature. We live in a global society, a pollution, well-developed world have a lot of excess pollution going on. Climate change, Black Lives Matter movement, equal rights matter, women's rights, etc., etc., etc. So that is what a definition of humanity itself is, serving the people in need, serving people around you and leaving this world in a better way that we've seen before. So let's take some examples from our history of who have lived in this world and have made a change. So number one is Malcolm X. I think everyone knows about Malcolm X. He's an African-American leader in the civil rights movement. He stood against, most publicly known, stood against racism. Equal, simple as this, everyone is equal. That's all he stood for, and everybody knows him. Number two is Nelson Mandela. He stood for equal rights. He stood for freedom. That man spent pretty much majority of his life in prison for what he believed and what he stood for. That's number two. Number three is Mother Teresa. Everyone knows this. She stood and cared for needy, people in need, hungry, poor, women, children. She served humanity. Those people did. And you know, all these 4 or 5 people that I mentioned who we see in our history books, we don't see a lot about who these people took inspiration from. The name is Hussein, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. Shias call him as Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So in simple terms, this one man for 1300 years ago stood for justice, stood against racism, stood for needy, stood for poor people. And taking those lessons, people like Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, people like Mother Teresa took inspiration from Hussein, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. So this is what the history says. So what can we do about it? I'm going to make it simple for you. I'm going to give you outline, a framework, a pointers that you can implement it right away from today in your life to serve humanity. Number one, the best thing you could do is educate yourself. I know you're probably thinking, why is this gentleman on screen saying to be selfish? Let me explain you. If you educate yourself, you know what is right, what is wrong. You don't know what is right or wrong. Again, my dad and my granddad, they always tell me this: ask the people that they know. If you don't know something, go and ask someone. That's exactly what my parents always taught me. And as is, again, I'm passing it back to you. Knowledge is key. Excel at your field. Become CEOs, entrepreneurs, politicians, journalists. Be top doctors, top consultants, top surgeons, researchers. These people combined can influence and change your home. If you're educated, you can change the view of your parents. If you're educated, you can change your view of your siblings. Then you can change the views of your neighborhood, your neighbors, then your society, community, your village, and your country, and then inshallah the world itself. Next thing, number two, is become public speakers. You know, people always say that we don't have that many speakers. Look at the panel right now to yourself. We have a lot of amazing, inspirational speakers, but we need to see more female, women-led speakers. We need to see more of our people inspiring and educating our women in our community. We need to see Lady Zainabs, we need to see Lady Fatimas in our community excelling to a national platform. That's how we will serve our community. That's how we will serve humanity. Believe me, the most kind-hearted are our mothers and our sisters. So we need them to be leading from front. We need to see more of that. Public speaking is just not about grabbing a mic or coming on a webinar like what I'm doing. Public speaking gives you the confidence to know when to speak. Right now, we've got millions of people as bystanders. We just look at a disaster that's happening. We do really well getting our phones and take selfies of something going wrong. We don't stop, stand and speak. It is our duty and our obligation, our right to speak for the people in nature. So if you're a school student, you're watching this, and you see a colleague of yours, a pupil of yours getting bullied, the first thing you have to do is stand up, say that is wrong. Stand with the people who've been oppressed. Stand against the oppressor. So that is the first real-time example I can give you. All the people that I know, you see someone getting bullied, stand up against it. Someone being disregarded at the work of employment, someone being pushed away or delayed a promotion because of the color of their skin, because of being a woman, or because of being this and the other. Stand against it. That's the skill that you learn, educating yourself. Number 3, charity. Give back. One of the biggest things that I love what Imam Hussain alayhi salam has said, I know Brother Zakaria has also said as well, is that doesn't matter how much you give. Not giving is the biggest shame. Doesn't matter how small it is, but keep giving. It doesn't matter even a little bit, even if it's your smile itself. Okay, so the charity could be and should be educating other people. You know, one of the things that an individual can do, leave 3 things behind. Number 1, looking after an orphan. Number 2, live a book, read a book that someone can read, write a book that someone can read. Number 3 is a good children, a God-fearing children. And that's the easiest way for you to get to paradise. Charity. That's the point number 3. Break the chain of poverty. The only way you can break the chain of poverty is by education. I know there's a lot of people in India who have initiatives about schools, free education. Inspire them, push them. Don't be a bystander. I want everyone to watch this, to give 1 hour of a webinar on a school. Take that, make that pledge to yourself. Okay, I'm going to reach out to the guys who's doing a school, and I'm going to volunteer myself for 1 hour to give and education to younger people. Do tutoring. Teach the younger generation. Doesn't matter how small it is. Teach, give, give, give. The next thing also that I was going to talk about is number 4 is legacy. Servicing the humanity is all about legacy. Today I am here is a blessing and is from the strong foundation what my parents and my grandparents have set. And that's why we're here. That's why I am here. So if we leave a legacy, if we come with a mindset that, okay, 9 to 5, I'm going to go and do my day-to-day job. After 5 p.m., I'm going to start thinking about building something for my akhirah, building something that I can leave behind. It could be a business. It could be a charity. It could be planting a tree. It could be absolutely anything. Legacy. It could also be as small, as little as going distributing leaflets on a march. As small as that. But however, I want you to start thinking big here, leaving legacy. There's a lot of big people in this world right now who have thought about leaving legacy, like Nelson Mandela, like Mother Teresa, like Malcolm X, and our great inspiration, Hussein, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He left a legacy. 25 million people go to Karbala right now as we speak because of the legacy that he said. So brothers and sisters, you're watching this, think about what legacy you can leave behind. Can you leave a business that creates recurring income for a charitable cause? Can you leave properties that can create income that can give behind to a charity? Sadaqah Jariyah. That's basically the service for humanity in a nutshell. I've summarized this in 3 points. Number 1 is leave this world in a better place than you found it, whatever that is. Number 2, write a book or help someone who's written a book to market a book that someone else can benefit. Number 3, sponsor an orphan. Find a way to sponsor an orphan, sponsor a needy. In 20 years' time, that child will be a doctor, engineer. He's transformed the whole community because of you yourself. To summarize, brothers and sisters, Albert Einstein said, only a life lived in the service to others is worth living. That is beautiful, right? Albert Einstein said that. We can find 100 reasons why I cannot do it. I don't have the time to do it. I'm making the excuses for you, okay? So on the chat box, if you can watch this, I want you to write the reasons of what you think you can serve humanity. How can you serve humanity? Write down the reasons. It could be as simple as fixing your bed in the morning and then helping your parents with the house chore. It could be simple as that, and it could be as big as whatever you think. Just write down in the comment section. We've got reasons why we cannot serve humanity. I'll give you a few so you don't have to worry about it. I am too busy. It's a very easiest one. It's the government's problem. We complain to the authorities. The government is not doing enough. The people are not united. I try to do something this. Let's find one reason why we should do it. It doesn't have to be 100. Let's change the mindset from I cannot do it to how can I do it? Change the mindset from I cannot do it to how can I do it? Imam Hussein alayhi salam only had 72 followers on the lands of Karbala. He took action for justice against an army of 30,000. The odds were against him. Are you telling me that he couldn't walk away from it? You're telling me he had no other option? He did, but he went through it. Brothers and sisters, my final quote is simple as this. Can we change our mindset from how can I do it to how can I do it? I'm going to leave one point to think about. This is the way I think I'm serving humanity. My question to you is, how can you serve humanity? Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wow, that's what I said in the beginning. That's Shah Abbas from London for you. You can analyze his energy, his thoughts. He is someone who pulls from the crowd. Even if someone is just dreaming in one corner of the hall, he wakes them up. And he truly defines that your greatness doesn't depend on what you have, but it depends on how much you give. And by giving, no one has become poor. Like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said in his speech, and he's repeated thrice, that if you think by doing charity you become poor, no, he said it thrice, you'll become rich, you'll become richer, and you'll become richest. So money is not everything, okay? And how much you give doesn't matter, but with what intention you give matters. Thank you so much, Brother Shah Abbas, for all the lessons. Yes, let us all work towards creating a legacy where our future generation can proudly follow. Thank you so much, brother. And if you have any questions, I request the viewers, we have the next two speakers, and after that, we're going to open up to the audience to ask questions. You can unmute and ask questions towards the end of the session. Just be prepared what you want to ask. And I also request the speakers to give quick answers so that we can wind this up. And before I go to our next speaker, I would like to publish the result of our previous poll. One second. Yeah, the question was, service to humanity is restricted to contribution in monetary terms. Again, maximum have said no, and just two participants, that's 9% who said yes. I request you to share your answers in the comment section. Before I head, let me just introduce our last poll of the evening. Yeah. The poll says people can be empowered through spreading of knowledge, skills, and encouragement. Well, that's a very powerful question. I request you to please reply to it. And now we are heading to our next speaker, my very own brother, Razi Abbas, who's going to be sharing with you the incredible work what our trust, the Laureate Education and Welfare Foundation, has been doing over the years, and also how he has responded to the pandemic. Most of us decide to stay at homes, but someone has to come out to do some work. And my brother, I can proudly say he's one of them. So I welcome my brother Razi Abbas to share his work in the pandemic this year. Over
Thank
to
you. Thank you, Zaku. So thank you so much. Welcome to everybody here. It's really stressful to be one of those last speakers. I know a lot of us are really anxious, saying that, okay, how long is this going to go on for? But thank you so much for joining us today. And it's been a pleasure to hear each and every one of you. I don't really feel, find myself really worthy to be here and speak amongst such a, grand panel of people. But I would like to say that I feel lucky to be a part of this panel, and also at the same time have had the chance to interact or even work with many of them who spoke today. So one thing that I've seen that has been common with all of the speakers today, or when I've met them or worked with them, is that their intention or their willingness to do something for humanity in whatever capacity that they can. I would like to, give a certain take on what is my take on humanity and why we as individuals need to be aligned towards serving humanity. So Imam Ali in Nahjul Balagha says that free will is the biggest gift that humanity can ever ask for. And it is one gift that even God cannot take away from you. And that is something that really hit me really hard, saying, how can there be something that even God can't take away from you? And that's when we realized that Shaitan was born to, meander you away from the Sirat al-Mustaqim. And Imam Hussain, the reason he is such an inspirational figure, and I'm sure that we relate to him in different ways, Imam Hussain showed us how exactly free will can be aligned towards service towards humanity. And that's why we say that, Imam Hussain is an inspiration to one and all, and how he has, taken a troop of 72 individuals who are from his family and his friends towards a certain path where he stood and upheld the values of humanity. You saw everybody, all races, all castes, all creeds, all ages participating in that war of Karbala, from a 6-month-old child to a 99-year-old individual who fought in that war. That clearly said that there is no age to serve humanity. There is no identity to serve humanity. It is just the willingness to serve humanity that really transcends and manifests our intention to bring that willingness to serve humanity by actually putting out a certain amount of resources and aligning them together. So we happened, so Shah Abbas said a really good thing, that give what are the reasons for not serving humanity. I would say, what are the excuses to not serve humanity? The reason being that we all have different excuses or different reasons, as we say, to say that that I may be young, I don't have the resources, I don't have all of these things. The tragedy of Karbala really brings us to understand that you don't have to be a resourceful person to be a person to serve humanity. We could serve as a peon, like we say. Then when our 12th Imam comes, we need to ask this question, like, what is the role that we play in his army? And most of us would say that even if we are a peon of the servant of Imam, we would love to be a part of that. So there is no real resource that we bring to the table, but the willingness. Having said that, we are all scattered. So I would like to come to the laureate part after this statement, is that resources and individuals and people of a certain vision are all scattered across the world. And this webinar has to an extent successfully has brought the different sides together to say that we are all in this together, but we all need to be aligned to ensure that there is a certain amount of impact that we create in this world that we live in. We've heard this quote very often when as a kid: every day is Ashura and every place is Karbala. But we need to ask this question, is like, what is the Ashura of today? What is the real challenge of Ashura that we need to fight today? Challenges like Ashura come in the form of a pandemic. It could come in the form of oppression. It could come in the form of poverty. It could come in the form of anything. Mr. Mukhtar Karim said that, the self-esteem of mothers is something that he works to protect. And that is the Ashura for them, that they are fighting injustice of their times. Like we say, jihad is not about war. It is about, struggle. Correct? So we're all so scattered. And one thing that we need to work towards is coming together and aligning ourselves towards the Sirat al-Mustaqim that many of us do not really know the definition of, as even really great Muslims we are. So what can I do? What can you do to be a part of it? So I would like to go to a point where, without taking much time, my father and my family and our, like he said, that the legacy that we are talking about, our legacy comes from our great grandfather, who in his own small way helped a few people, which was taken over by my grandfather. And then my father, who went to a point where, we tried to establish different medical centers in Karbala. So we established the first telemedicine center in Karbala, in Safir al-Hussain Hospital, way back about a decade ago with Dr. Devi Shetty. And, we were not really the most organized people, saying that we were not with a plan. To be very frank with you, I can be really candid here. We didn't go with the plan. Wherever there was a need to support somebody, we went hands-on with no resources, no external support. We as a family went in and said that, yes, I think we can do it. There have been times where we've been way more stressed than we're supposed to be. But however, we have, selflessly, I'm not really boasting. The reason is we are here to inspire each other, inspire all of us here to try and do some good in our own small way. Correct. So coming to the pandemic, in terms of the whole situation that we are in today, there are about 31 million cases across the world, about 10 million active at the moment, and we've lost around 10 lakh individuals as we speak. Correct, around the world. This is the Ashura of today. How are we as Hussainis, how are we as individuals, how are we as humans are going to protect and serve humanity? So I'll tell you a story that I, when the lockdown was called for in March, okay, and then we went on to say that, okay, we want to do something. We didn't have the resources. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I have nothing. That's when, Dr. Batul came forward and supported the Who's Hussain campaign. And then, we gave out the ration distribution. Then Mohammed Abbas came in and we did a lot of, C19 support, that we did a lot of PPE distribution in different hospitals. So as and when we kept going ahead, I started meeting different people, or we started meeting different people who had the similar vision. And only because we all came together did we see real results. So one thing that I want to leave you with is that we all have certain deficits in our capacity as individuals. We cannot do everything. Let us accept it and let us go on with it. We cannot, and it is impossible for us to do anything by ourselves. Like Subi said, that we need a strategic and structured point of view, or a structured plan towards change. And religion Imam Hussain does not belong to any religion, correct? But we've made him religious. And that is why we are not really able to take the real inspiration from him in the real aspect of application of the same. We need to apply what we've learned from him, not really, pray to people, just like that. We need to get inspired and we need to become the Hussains of today. We need to become the Abbases of today. We need to become the Karbala of today. Because the whole point is that if we don't treat our existence as every day as every day is Ashura and every place is Karbala, we will never be able to be on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. And as a part of Laureate Trust, we have been doing a lot of work which goes we don't really put it out there on social media or much, but then we've been supporting Who's Hussain in its own way. We've been working with various organizations during the COVID-19 support till today with the help of Dr. Alamdar and Dr. Batul, of course, and my father. We've been able to support more than 250 plus patients during the pandemic by providing them oxygen, by providing them assistance in hospitals. The idea is to manage the disease, and we as individuals have to contribute. We cannot sit at home we can't not do something about it. As Hussainis, it is our responsibility and our goal, and it should be our mission of our life to support the world in whatever way we can. When humanity suffers, you suffer. Like there's a famous saying that 1,000 deaths is a statistics, but one death in your family is a tragedy. So let us not wait for that one death in our family for us to wake up. We all need to wake up and contribute. If you're a content writer, you need to write, correct? And you need to support certain social causes. If you're a coder, you're a developer, you can do it. If you're a speaker, you can do something. Like Shahbaz said, excel in the fields that you're in. If you're an entrepreneur, be the best entrepreneur. If you're a good doctor, be the better doctor. Because our community or our tribe of humans, I wouldn't say our tribe of Shias, I would say our tribe of humans has to grow, and we're all scattered. And I hope that one day, we all come together towards a singular mission and vision of service to humanity. So with that, I thank you all for joining us today, and wish to work with many of you. And like Mr. Mukhtar Karim said, hope that there's an alliance that is formed with all of us, because like Dr. Batul as well said, that I can come to me, I'll help you. Nobody really says that to you, right? A lot of people put up their price saying that, I'll think about it. Everyone has a resource in this call, including me, including you, including Dr. Batul, including every one of you. We need to learn to put it all together, let go of our indifferences, let go of everything. Like I famously say, in this world of dots, all you got to do is draw some lines. Thank you so much and have a great evening, and wish you all a great, life ahead, and please stay safe. Anything COVID related, you know where to come and we will help you. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, Razi. Thank you so much. That was very insightful on the work you've been carrying out from the past few months. And before I go to our next speaker, I would like to publish our last poll, which I had made it live last time. Yeah. So for the first time, we've got an answer of 100%. That is for the question, people can be empowered through spreading of knowledge, skills, and encouragement. Seeing all of us with one answer gives us hope that yes, at least we believe that knowledge, skills, and encouragement are the vital support which are required for individuals to function. Now, next speaker for the evening, I would say the last speaker of the evening, is a dear friend of mine who is just, I asked him to speak just 20 minutes before the session, and it was nice of him to accept it. That's my speaker for the next session is Dr. Alamdar Ali, who is doing his MD in General Medicine in Al-Amin College, Bijapur. He's been really busy. He was on duty, but thank you so much for removing some time and agreeing to share your thoughts with us, brother. Over to Dr. Alamdar Ali.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I would like to thank Sultan Sir, Zakaria, and Maria Razi for letting me speak on this platform. It's a challenging time for everyone. COVID has caused a lot of panic, unease, loss of life, and we personally have been through it. But on the other hand, we have seen communities, social workers, NGOs, corporates, civil societies, and even individuals all come out together in a way that was unprecedented ever before, to the common call of service to humanity. A small example of this is oxygen banks, which are opened in all corners of Bangalore. Right, all the headquarters of these oxygen banks were in masjids, community halls, mandirs, and churches. And there were volunteers, selfless volunteers, going about delivering these essentials, even at 3 a.m., trying to help save lives. We have been working with these volunteers, me, Dr. Zakaria, Razi, Dr. Batul. We all have been a part of this team from the last 7 months, and we have seen so many inspiring stories. One more inspiring stories from our very own community is of Mr. Imran, our ambulance operator, who dropped off 17 patients from an old age home to the Victoria Hospital. His only job was to drop these patients to the hospital and come back. But no, he decided to stay there and see to that they were taken care of in the hospital. And he also followed up on the next day. There are so many stories which inspire us day in, day out in the last 7 months. And the only thing which we have seen is everyone wants to help. And like how Razi told, that all this help has been scattered. We need to come together. We need to collaborate. And this collaboration has to stay on for the next couple of years, for the next future. It is imperative that this collaborative spirit continues beyond COVID. And platforms like Hussain Day and these are the ones which will enable the future. I would like to end by a small statement. Everyone has a desire to serve. Why not do it together? I would thank the entire team of Hussain Day once again for letting me speak. And I was really humbled to be a part of such a beautiful panel. And thank you, everyone. Assalam.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alamdar. That's very kind of you. With this, we have come to the end of the session. And before ending, I would like to want my father to conclude with a few words, with probably 5 minutes later. For now, I would like to open up to the audience. We have Brother Shah Abbas with us. We have Dr. Batul with us. If you have any questions you want to ask regarding service to humanity and about the experiences in their journey towards their service to humanity, I request you all, you can just unmute for a second, introduce yourself, ask a question, and then you can mute again. So I open up to the audience. I think my friend, Ms. Zena Jeddi from Chennai, she must be having a question. Yeah? Zena, are you there?
Yes, Zach, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Aga Sultan Saab for creating this beautiful opportunity for us to get together on this platform. My good friend Zakaria and his team for this wonderful opportunity. I am Zaina Jerry from Chennai. I am a youth philanthropist and I lead the Chennai team of Who is Hussain. So my question is to Mr. Mukhtar Kareem Saab. And so my question goes, how do you know where a mother is suffering?
Zaina, let me just check if he's here.
Right.
I'm not sure if he's here. You can direct the question to Shah Abbas. He's ready to take any question for the evening.
Sure.
So if you can please redirect the question to Brother
Lovely
Shah.
to reconnect with you, Shah Abbas. I hope you're doing fine. I wanted to know, how do we know where a mother is suffering across the geographies? What kind of system do we have and that can help us to locate such mothers, and how do we heal them mentally? Because that is the first step after identifying them, that we heal them emotionally and mentally.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for reconnecting. Yes, absolutely. I remember meeting you in Chennai quite a few years ago now. It's good that you are keeping me, and please pass my salams to your dad as well, inshallah. Right. So it's a really brilliant question, sister, and I think Brother Mukhtar will be the best person to answer that. However, I can give you some input from Lady Fatima Trust, who are quite very well established in London. The way we know that is by you people like yourself who are lived in your local areas, know your local areas much better than the people who work in international charities. The best thing you could possibly do is when you've identified individuals, it's quite simple, who are going through pain, poverty, rural areas, you should speak to your community members, your local community members, your local Jamaat, and first of all, to let them know that we have this issue in our place. And what they will do is, first they will assess, hopefully they will assess the situation, they'll triage that situation in that local area, and if that is local help available for you. If not, look, I'm pretty sure Lady Fatima Trust would be happy to help and support, or just like any other charity, they can possibly coordinate with the Jamaat, inshallah, and come to the people in need. I hope this answers your question, inshallah.
Thank you, Shahbaz, for that answer. It definitely does answer my question. It really is the fact that when we empower a woman, she empowers her entire tribe and community. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Zakaria and team. You have a lovely day ahead. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Any more questions? You can probably ask anything relating to the topic. If anyone can just unmute and ask questions, it would be great. Okay, so let me ask a question to the viewers. So this concept we've introduced this year, service to humanity, an opportunity to interact with one another. This proves that pandemic cannot kill our spirits. The spirits has to be rising. During the pandemic, thanks to the technology, we were able to connect. And with this, let us not stop it right here. This is a way of connecting with each other. Let us get in touch with each other. We have organizations like LabourNet Health Services. We have organizations like Who's Hussain. We have the Zehra Trust. We have the Lady Fatima Trust. And we have the Peace Building Organization by Brother Hayat. We have United Religions Initiative by Ms. Subi Dupar, who was generous of her to stay with us for the last 2.5 hours. She was with us. She had to leave because she got an emergency call. I request you all to create a community of social service. It doesn't mean that you have to just be loyal to one organization. No, you can probably be a part of all organizations. And remember, all organizations have a common goal, and that is to serve the humanity. And you can take anyone as your inspiration. For example, we have this organization called Khalsa Aid. They take inspiration from Guru Nanak Ji, who I also personally take inspiration from. Similarly, we have Imam Hussain alayhi salam, who inspires us to keep moving forward. Similarly, there may be many other organizations. But remember one thing, we all are united by the commonalities. Every religion conveys the message of love, compassion, and brotherhood of mankind. Let us unite on those commonalities. And with this, I conclude today's session. If my father's around, Mr. Aga Sultan, I would like him to share a few words. Okay, I'm not sure if he's here. Let me just conclude. I would like to thank every one of y'all who is a part of today's gathering. My father is back. I would love for him to share a few words because he is also a very passionate and a very powerful speaker. Whatever little, I would say I'm not great, but whatever little qualities I have is because I'm inspired by him. I would want my father, Mr. Aga Sultan, convener of Hussain Day, to end the session with a passionate inspiration.
Well, it has been almost 2 hours and 45 minutes. I think it's one of the best sessions I've attended in recent times. What gives me happiness is every speaker is an institution by himself or herself. When I say institution, please don't take me for granted, because hearing each one's experiences, starting with Ms. Subi Dupur, Mr. Imran Rasool, Dr. Batul's presentation was marvelous. In fact, some of the things which I didn't know, I have seen it with my own eyes, a presentation on the services that she's rendering through LabourNet. Then we had Mrs. Shamshad Begum. I've never seen her speaking till now. And the way she spoke, the history of 50 years she gave in a nutshell. We had Dr. Muhammad Abbas from Who is Hussain. then Mr. Hayat Hamidi, my very young and dynamic friend from Delhi, and most of all, Mr. Mukhtar Kareem's work is another amazing lesson that I have come across. And of course, Shah Abbas and Dr. Alamdar. And Razi Abbas, as usual, young and ebullient. And Dr. Zakaria, you've done a great job. So I would suggest only one thing now. See, we had this webinar. We should not just talk and forget. Why don't you create a permanent platform of all the participants, integrating them and using the resources or giving them whatever resources, whether knowledge or in any kind, service can be of any kind. So you think of floating a platform of all these participants today, integrating them and having, need not be only on webinar, having an exchange of information to help each other is what I would suggest today to you, Zakaria. And I think it's wonderful. I'm indeed very grateful to be a part of it. Well, the formal vote of thanks will come from Dr. Zakaria, and I think I've done a little part of it, but don't consider this a vote of thanks. I am indeed very, very grateful to each one of you for spending 3 hours of your valuable time on a Sunday. I hope we go from here. We should grow, and service has no barriers. There is no religion for service. Anybody who needs service, we should be at their doorstep. We should come out and help them out, and especially in this year of pandemic. I'm sure we'll get over this very soon. Let's think beyond pandemic now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Baba. I think you've done the major thanking. I would once again thank our speakers for the evening, and especially I thank you for probably inspiring us from the past few years. And it's an honor to be working and being a part of your initiatives. Hussain Day has been a platform created since the year 1991, and it's been like 28 years. This year is the 28th annual Hussain Day. Every year we have a theme. Last year's theme was Stand for Unity, and this year's theme is Service to Humanity, inspiration from the life of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This is a platform which conveys that let us not just speak, let us act upon our words. And with this concept of webinar and a way of connecting, inshallah, we want to make this a permanent feature of Hussain Day henceforth. And before I thank our speakers, I would like to make an announcement. We are going to be having 28th annual Hussain Day on 27th September, 3:30 p.m. Please follow our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, our Instagram page to know the constant updates. We have an incredible lineup of speakers from across the world. I wouldn't say Hussain Day Bangalore, but this year it's going to be Hussain Day International because we have extremely passionate and powerful speakers who are joining us. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Mr. Imran Rasool Saab, who's not here with us, but he is an extremely busy gentleman. He has removed his time and he has shared, probably we are one of the few people who he has shared his journey with. And Channel Win, Message to Humanity, has been doing a great job in disseminating the right information, not only of Islamic knowledge, but also of worldly affairs. I would like to thank him for all his support towards Hussain Day and his incredible work. I thank Mrs. Shamshad Hussain, the president of Anjuman Sogra, and the entire team of Anjuman Sogra. The ladies, with so much energy, like I say always, age is just a number, but the amount of energy they show inspires youngsters like us. Probably youngsters like us cannot match with that energy. This group of ladies, and also I'm so happy to let you know, even my mother, Mrs. Nahid Fatima, is also an important part of Anjuman Sogra. I see these ladies just getting things done so quickly. We probably take few weeks to get things done, but it's their passion which drives them. And these ladies have been doing great work in our community, in upliftment and empowerment of our community. So I thank Mrs. Shamshad Hussain and Team Anjuman Sogra for joining us. I thank Mr. Mukhtar Kareem for sharing such an important message. He's the chairman of Lady Fatima Trust, whose ethos is to give. And his model of mothernomics is extremely popular. He gives women by retaining their dignity and respect. That is something what I have learned. Charity just doesn't means you give money. They say when your right hand gives, your left hand shouldn't know. And most of us, probably unknowingly, we don't realize that the dignity of a person is very important. And when we give, we need to put our head down and give. And this initiative of Mothernomics retains that dignity of women. And like he said, he doesn't call widows, he calls them mothers. And I think we should follow that in Bangalore and across the different parts of the country. Inshallah, we're looking forward to work with him and his organization and trying to recreate his model in different parts of India. I thank Dr. Batul Fatima, who's a Senior Vice President of LabourNet Services. Ma'am, I must say, you have showed us the real facts. The numbers, what you have showed are not just numbers, but behind the numbers is immense support and immense, I would say, the amount of energy you have put behind that. So those numbers speak volumes about your dedication and your passion. And I think LabourNet is one of the few organizations which is so transparent and who believes in quality with quantity. As you say, numbers are not important, but when you empower someone, you need to empower them completely. I think LabourNet is doing that completely. You, along with my brother Razi Abbas and Dr. Alamdar, have been doing a great job. I'd like to congratulate you for your immense help and support. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank my dear friend, Ms. Subhi Dhupar from United Religions Initiative, who came here and she, in fact, she told me initially that she'll just be a part of it for half an hour. But she was here with us for 2.5 hours. And she is, of course, very busy with many things happening around the world. I thank Ms. Subhi Dhupar for inspiring, especially the women of our community. The women can't just sit at home. They are the leaders. Like Brother Shah Abbas said, that they need to get inspired by Bibi Zainab, Bibi Fatima Zahra Salamullahi Alaiha, and need to come into public speaking. I'm sure, I would say, today people is talking about feminism, equality. I personally feel women are superior to men because we go out, we earn, we come home. But after the woman comes home, she has to look after her house, she has to look after her family. So I would say we have immense respect for the women of our household and our community, and we look forward to empower you in the days to come. I once again thank Ms. Subhi Dhupar. I thank Brother Dr. Muhammad Abbas Khaki, my elder brother, and a great friend who, from the past 5 or 6 years, our association with him has created results which are permanent. I mentioned to you the free heart surgery project under Pre-Hussain and Laureate Education Welfare Foundation has created wonders across the world. We see a lot of organizations who are willing to work with us, and they have encouraged us to work for other countries as well. And our next project, inshallah, as a part of Laureate Trust, we're going to be introducing a project called Uniting Hearts to Save a Heart campaign, which I've been working, I would say it's my dream project to help the children of India with heart problems, with congenital heart defects. And I'm sure people like Dr. Batul, Mr. Mukhtar Kareem, and also Brother Muhammad Abbas are going to be a part of this project. And inshallah, it's going to go on flows towards the end of the year. I thank you, Brother Muhammad Abbas, and also Dr. Saida, who was not able to join us, and I'm sure she's busy in the hospital. She has conveyed a message to all the viewers that inshallah she will be with us from the next sessions. I thank Brother Shah Abbas. Brother, whenever I listen to you speak, I get inspired. The amount of energy you exhibit, the amount of passion you exhibit, is, believe me, there's no match to it. I thank Brother Shah Abbas for joining us in very short notice. Believe me, we've worked on this webinar in this last 1 or 2 days. Usually we confirm the timings of people, but here I just send them invitation, and probably the speakers had no choice than saying yes. And that's their greatness and their generosity that they agreed to join us towards this cause of service to humanity. Brother Shah Abbas, inshallah, I'll be seeing you soon in London. My salams to your parents back in London. I thank a very dear friend, Brother Hayat Amiri. This gentleman, there's so much of positivity exhibiting from him. I often call him a ball of positive energy. Wherever he rolls, he conveys his positive energy. And being from a region like Afghanistan, which is still fighting for its basic human rights, there's so much happening back home that still has not stopped him from his spirits going high. His energy, his confidence, and his passion is extremely, extremely high. And we look forward to associate with you for many such initiatives. And inshallah, we look forward to associate with you for next year's Hussain Day, because you have been, your comparing, your emceeing of Hussain Day is, of course, there's no match to it. I thank you, brother, for joining us in such a short notice. Inshallah, we're going to be meeting soon. Of course, I don't need to thank my brother Razi Abbas for such a insightful and a powerful speech he's given, sharing his thoughts on how we can come together. Let it be in a small way, but let us all work together, hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, towards serving humanity. I thank my brother, Dr. Alamdar, for joining us for this session. And I thank each one of you for joining. Most of you all have been there from beginning. It's almost 3 hours. And this proves that we all are equally passionate to serve humanity. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, brothers and sisters, for joining us. Thank you so much.